And we are live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up, guys? How's things going? How are things going with you? Welcome to this wonderful Saturday. It's nice for New York, but not that great anywhere else. Those who are rewatching, thank you. Those who are watching live, thank you. But anyway,
Yes.
so I was this was brought to my attention via you, actually, Tony,
Oh,
about this
yeah.
case, and I was like, whoa. When I
Right?
first heard this, I was like, really? This happened? So apparently, there was a Pennsylvania guy that beheaded his own father and then went on a live stream holding up his deceased father's head, screaming about, overthrowing the government, that he's the new president, martial law, proceeded to scream crazy, crazy things
Hey,
onto it.
Julie. Hey, Sleuth.
Hi, Sue. The live was up for like 6 hours, and it took 6 hours for them to take it down,
Yeah.
and eventually they took him in, and it looked like he planned these events out. I mean, I've heard the
He
report
had a
that
manifesto.
yeah, he
Yeah.
turned in his marijuana license so he can buy the gun. um, Very
Uh-uh.
fucking crazy situation. So they're probably not. He's probably going to have a hard time with a insanity defense. But I thought it was a very interesting story to just get into, because I just
Hey,
kind of,
Grandma.
hi grandma, kind of goes into the darker side of social media and how sometimes it can brainwash people. So let's start with law and crime. You want to start with that? Like, just give people a
Yeah,
general gist.
yeah. That would work.
So let's start with that. Just a pre. Don't worry, I checked it beforehand. Not
Everything
this.
is censored. We will never show you guys the graphic content of any
Yeah.
video.
I didn't see. Let me just make sure.
They blurred it. They
Yeah.
had to, because if not, YouTube
I'm
would
just
have got
making sure
them.
law and crime doesn't get me in
Yeah.
trouble. They're pretty trustworthy people, but I'm like, just in case, law and crime, don't fucking
Right.
show that shit, please, God,
Well,
no.
YouTube would have dinged them by now. The
You
video
know,
won't be here.
yeah. I mean, I just can't believe there was actually people that were like looking for this fucking video. I'm like, man, you must be like sickos. Who would ever want to watch something like have that in their brain? Some crazy
I don't
guy
know.
holding a decapitated head. That shit
No,
is fucking
see,
scarring.
I remember the top supermarket shooting that happened in was it? I think it was in New York. I'm not too sure. And the video, he live streamed it, and the video was all over TikTok, and I stumbled upon it. Can never unsee what I just saw. So never look up the videos. It's just disgusting.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible.
Then holding up the severed head in a video that he posted online that got thousands of views before it was finally taken down. We're analyzing everything we know so far about this case with retired U.S. Marshal Art Roderick and former Judge Elizabeth Scherer. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. I'm going to tell you right off the bat that not only is this an incredibly disturbing case, this is a tough one just to even talk about.
Yeah.
Police
Mhm.
in Middletown Township, Pennsylvania, that's in Bucks County, they responded to a horrifying 911 phone call on Tuesday night. A woman reported around 7 p.m. that she came home to find her 68-year-old husband, Michael Mohn, decapitated in the bathroom of their home. Yes, that is what we're talking about. Couple's adult son, 32-year-old Justin Mohn, was the prime suspect in the death of his father. He had apparently posted a video of himself on YouTube holding up his own father's.
Justin Mohn released his first album, The Story of Humanity.
Yeah,
Sounds like
Grandma
yeah.
said it was sick, and not sick in a good way. It was,
Yeah.
I guess it's disturbing. And you know what, Julie? I would watch that. I would like to hear his rantings, but I would never show it. Do you know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
remember
As long as it's censored.
Remember we watched that the Brooklyn shooter. He had a YouTube channel. The guy who was shot in the train
Yeah.
station,
Yeah.
and he basically was ranting, driving around, crazy ideas, and he was like going after the mayor. Basically, that was his rant. And I think that was probably his plan to go after like the mayor or something like that, because the only reason why he started shooting in the Brooklyn in the I think it was the N train was mainly because he accidentally dropped something and it set off like a smoke grenade or something. So it could have been a lot worse. Luckily, no one died in that scenario. But yeah, sometimes YouTube allows has like these wackadoos, man.
Oh yeah. I mean, we've seen it.
Yeah, a lot of wackadoos.
Head.
Wait,
That is
real
what we're
quick.
talking.
Julia asks, so was his dad liberal? Is that why he was mad at
His dad was like a federal worker. He was like, worked for 20 years. And basically, during his rant, he was talking about how, like, all federal workers, anyone in the federal government needs to be killed or arrested. He had a bounty on them. He was proclaiming martial law. He was claiming he was the new president. He was proclaiming that Biden should be, like, killed or something. It was just weird. Arrested. Actually brought to him, actually. He was claiming that Biden should be brought to him, which is, like, fucking bonkers, to be honest.
It sounds like he was calling for arms. He's like, my people. Like, it sounded like he was doing a speech.
Yeah, he was like basically hoping to do like some sort of mass revolution or something. Fucking basement dwelling motherfucker.
Talking about right here. That 14-minute video went up on the site about an hour before the 911 phone call. It had close to 5,000 views before it was finally removed hours later. The video was posted to YouTube with the title Mohn's Militia Call to Arms for American Patriots. And in the video, Justin Mohn said that his father had been a federal employee for 20 years, which Mohn believes made him a traitor to the country. In the video, he states, quote, violence is the only solution to the federal government's treason. And this is the head of Mike Mohn, a federal employee of over 20 years. And my father, he is now in hell for eternity as a traitor to his country.
Wow.
I can't even. It's just so shocking to me that people can be so into their convictions that they're like, I got to kill you. I know you're my dad, but I got to make a point.
I think there's an old Jewish saying, ungrateful child is sharper than a serpent's tooth. Yeah, imagine raising your son and your son fucking does this to you. What a fucking dirtbag.
Hey,
Garbage
Zen,
human being.
I could never figure out why, though, other than him being a federal worker, he was so pissed. I wasn't sure if the dad had more reasonable political views or what. I mean, he could have. Sadly, we won't know.
Well, I mean, like, if you look at, like, let me see. I'm trying to look up the article, like the background of the guy. Okay, so he had like a lot of prior federal lawsuits. This guy, one of his. Let me see if I have the right.
Not the father. You're talking about John, right?
John, yeah, I'm talking about John.
Yeah,
Let me
okay.
just put that face on there. When I read this article, you'll see. So one of the prior federal lawsuits he had was Mohn has filed at least 3 lawsuits against the federal agencies, including the U.S. government, claiming they negligently caused him to take out student loans between 2010 and his graduation from Pennsylvania State University in 2014. Court filings show. Let me just see if there actually are court filings. Let me see. So the court filings basically state, and this is Justin Mohn versus the United States of America, U.S. Attorney's Office, Attorney General of the United States, and it says, in 2014, college graduate continues to pro se sue federal actors for inducing or negligently causing him to borrow college student loans from 2010 to 2014. We've dismissed his 2 earlier lawsuits. He now sues the United States, the Attorney General, and the United States Attorney with slightly different legal theories. We denied him leave to proceed without paying filing fees earlier this month. He responded by moving for our recusal for the first time after months of appearing before us. He speculatively grounds for recusal are false, as he could have discovered with cursory internet search. He offers no basis to show bias or otherwise allow us to find reasonable person knowing all the facts which conclude our impartiality might reasonably be questioned. He offered no basis to find we have some financial interest, personal bias, extrajudicial knowledge, or personal views of the interest in him. He claims, or a latest federal actor now being sued, we deny his motion pro se allegation. Justin Mohn filed 3 prior lawsuits challenging his obligation to repay federal student loans he borrowed to attend and graduate from Pennsylvania State University from 2010 to 2014. We addressed his allegations where 3 times we dismissed his first 2 prior complaints. State A claims we recently denied the application to proceed to his 3rd complaint, this time against the United States and the Attorney General and the United States Attorney, without paying the filing fees after finding he swore to have over $2,000 in his bank account, and he only spent his money to buy marijuana for recreational use. He never raised a question regarding our impartiality before and denied his application. You never saw our recusal. So this guy is smoking weed
Mm-hmm.
and he's blaming the federal government because he took out loans to go to a university and graduate, and he's basically saying they forced him to do it and he couldn't find a job. Okay.
Imagine if this turns into a cannabis problem too. A lot of people. that's the thing. You know how it's gonna be. They're gonna pick every little thing out.
Yeah, I don't get it why he thought like blaming, like that's always the craziest thing. Like this guy's talking about like, oh, the federal government is evil. Well, motherfucker, without the federal government allowing you to take that student loan, you wouldn't be able to, because the only reason why banks give unemployed people who have no credit history and no job the ability to go to school and take out a loan is because the federal government allows it and it gives you the means to get educated. So it's your fault for picking a terrible fucking core, like an actual background for your education. You could have gone to a career institute and became a fucking plumber, and you probably would make like $100,000 or whatnot. Or you could have just not gone to college and just become part of an iron workers union, busted your ass, and probably be, retiring at the age of 40, probably with a multi-million-dollar retirement, to be honest with you. Just saying, like, there are options, especially since your dad seems to fucking be, seems to be a good guy who had a job for 20 years. I heard some people were shocked for smart and athletic, they described him as. Yeah, well, it sounds like something got into his brain that warped his thought process, because this is crazy. Or you could have, let's say you didn't want to actually pay back your student loans. You could have easily did one of those charity programs where you do like charity for like 10 years, like work for like an charity organization. And I think they forgive your student loan. In the legal opinion of the case, the judge called the accusation entirely speculative without factual basis, said John Mohn's complaint were the inaccurate allegation of disappointed college graduate.
Oh, Uncle Pickles. Love Grandma. Grandma's a beautiful soul. I
accidentally showed we're a part of like I merely took it down. Yeah, I mean, I think people make mistakes, kind of thing.
It's a mistake. You took it with it's what you do with it afterwards. People make mistakes, but what you're gonna do afterwards is what counts.
I mean, like, I think like mistakes often happen with these types, especially when you do breaking news. I mean, like,
because this is fresh. This is fresh.
Yeah. Mohn also sued his former employer, Progressive Insurance, in 2020, alleging wrongful termination and sex discrimination against men. He was hired as a customer service representative in October 2016 and was fired in August 2017 after he kicked open a facility's door, court records show. A district court ruled that Mohn failed to establish a case of discrimination. When Mohn was filing his lawsuit, his parents were giving him about $540 a month. He indicated in court filing shortly before Progressive fired him. He had taken a trip to Vegas to see if he could pursue a music career, according to the lawsuit. He was 32 years old? What a fucking idiot. It's like, time to wake up, bro. Like, you're getting paid by your mommy and daddy.
I was about to say, when I was living with my parents, when I moved back here from Canada, I was paying my parents. Like,
yeah,
I was like,
it's usually goes the other way around.
Yeah, like, I wish. I mean, you had it good. You had a loving family that was trying to help you. And, I mean, obviously, he's a grown man. He's going to believe in whatever he believes in.
That's debatable if he was a grown man, because
you don't just don't wake up one day and say, hey, I'm going to make a YouTube video and I'm going to kill my dad.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's not.
Fucking weirdo. He represented himself in the lawsuit. That ends always well. Pro se litigates, it always ends well when you represent yourself. I've never seen a situation where you represent yourself in a lawsuit, a court case, that it never ends badly. That's sarcasm, by the way. Mohn was highly active on social media, where he promoted his self-released music books, including Dystopian Science Fiction, a non-fiction book released via Amazon in 2017 titled The Revolution Leader's Survival Guide. Contains the transcript of a letter to then President Donald Trump warning of, quote, a peaceful revolution helped by the author of If Positive Change Does Not Come to America, the World Soon. What the fuck? Let me see this. I gotta see, what the hell is this book? That is so weird, man.
You know what, Uncle? This is the thing. It was an accident, and at the end, you fixed it. But we know some people out there that
I knew one
would
content.
profit.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, remember when we were talking about that shooting at the food store, right?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about
Yeah,
earlier.
and
Yeah.
there was this one content creator. I'm not going to mention his name because he's a scumbag and a dirtbag, and I hope nothing but horrible things for him. But he
Ooh.
put that as his intro to his live stream when that woman got shot in the
Really?
head. When that woman got shot in the head.
Really?
Mhm.
See, I don't. It's fucking tacky. I don't like this. See that now I'm getting angry.
And he was part of
That's
like
tacky.
he wasn't part of true crime or anything. He was part of like the more of like I would say like the shit, like the piece of shit, like
Yeah.
kind of right wing, part of that, not the right, like normal right wing people, but more like the sludge beneath the right wing
Yeah.
movement. And he was part of that, and he just thought it was just hilarious to put like a replay video of a woman getting shot in her head who was just working at the grocery store. And it's just like
Mhm.
that. That's to me is intentional. But if someone just
See,
slips, you know what I mean? It's just how it is.
yeah. Well, I see you're thinking of him. I was thinking of her who was profiting off of morbid curiosity. Do you know who I'm talking about?
No, I don't. I'm sorry.
We did a whole show on her
What was the?
with Gavin.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So you did the right thing. That's what counts.
Yeah,
Mistakes are
just
going to
mistakes.
happen.
I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But you live and learn. Just how it is.
Mhm.
Gruesome scene. The suspect's
Exactly, Grandma.
mother, Denise Mohn, found his father's body and called police around 7 p.m. Tuesday. When police, okay, so we'll get to so that showed his background. He's let me see if there's more to the background. Let me see if I'm going to read the court hearing. My role as a shareholder and law firm before appointment to the bench. Let me see. A large function attorney fees. Let me see. Class difference. Okay. Socioeconomic class difference between me and Mr. Mohn because he swears I grew up on the main line, which is on the opposite side of the tracks from where Mr. Mohn grew up, giving me a much better window of opportunities. Current events such as student loan debt relief and possibly even affirmative action makes my membership in law firm with who denotes to the Democratic Party extrajudicial factor. So he's basically claiming that these people they should be like taken away, like she should be recused from the cases because they're part of the Democratic Party and they have a little bit better socioeconomic situation than him. Okay, what a fucking moron. I mean,
real quick. Sorry, I was just responding to Grandma. Grandma, don't worry about it. I had issues with it last night when I was trying to buy a video game, and I don't know what's going on with it. I mean, it works. It's
what,
just
PayPal?
the link it's wonky, but we'll skip it. It's fine.
Everyone's been having problem with PayPal lately, and this is just a side note. I've heard a couple of people have had problems with PayPal. I think it's just like a glitch. Mr. Mohn seeks to disqualify citing test set by Congress, interpreted by the judge in Section 455. And Title, okay, Congress in section requires judge to qualify. So you try to disqualify the judge. Oh my God. What a fucking idiot. So anyway, let me just read. I'm going to read while I'm reading it, I'll play this.
Which Mohn believes the environmental section of the U.S.
Yeah, you're typing really loud, by the way.
Eternity as
let me mute it.
His country. Reported that Michael Mohn worked as an engineer with the geo-environmental section of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers in Philadelphia District. Law enforcement captured Mohn about 100 miles away from the crime scene at Fort Indiantown Gap Base, home of Pennsylvania National Guard headquarters. He had apparently broken into the base with a gun. He was still armed when law enforcement confronted him, but authorities say he surrendered peacefully. No one was harmed. He has been charged with murder in the first.
That's when you know this guy is just full of shit. Like, if you really believe that you were like leading a revolution, wouldn't you be like kind of go out as like a martyr? To me, that just says the fucking everything about like he turned himself in. This motherfucker.
But it's the same thing as the supermarket guy.
Yeah.
They believed that they were doing something patriotic.
I remember the supermarket guy. I mean, like I remember when he was in there, he literally saw a white person. He said, "Oh, sorry." Like,
and then
he was just
proceeded to shoot the Hispanic woman. Yes,
the Hispanic woman. He was like, "Oh, sorry about that." To the white person,
he laughed.
Yeah, I remember that.
He's like,
It was-
haha, sorry. Like, it was so nonchalant. I think that's what
and if you
scarred
don't
me
know,
the most.
during the supermarket mass shooting, the guy literally was live streaming on Twitch.
Yeah, he had
Yeah,
a
it was Twitch.
GoPro on his rifle.
Yeah, and he just jumped out, and the Twitch didn't take him down fast enough. I think it took him like a minute and a half or something like that. It didn't take him 6 hours, but it took him like
No.
a minute and a half to take him down.
Degree, abuse of a corpse, and possession of an instrument of crime with intent. According to court documents, Mohn was arraigned virtually very early Wednesday morning, and his bail has been denied. Let's break this down. I have two very special guests. I'm joined by retired U.S. Marshal Art Roderick and former Judge Elizabeth Scherer, who presided over the Parkland School shooting case. She's now in private.
Yeah, the supermarket guy did say sorry to the white person. His entire intent was to kill black and color, Spanish people,
He
people
was
of color,
thinning out.
basically.
He was thinning out the colored race so the white people can be more populated.
Yeah, that was his
basically
thing.
the manifesto.
And he would have killed more people if, like, I think it was like a supermarket security guy who was just underarmed. He only had a handgun. Yeah, he only had a handgun. And he was dealing with a guy with a modified AR-15, a vest, and he was holding this guy off. And that actually resulted in less people being killed. But he died, unfortunately, that African American.
But the shooter wasn't the shooter also wearing body armor too?
Yeah, no. Yeah, the shooter was wearing body armor, had a modified AR-15, and unfortunately, the cop was just under. The retired security. Retired. He was a retired cop, but he also did security at the supermarket.
Yeah.
And
he's
a hero. Yeah, he just was really. He did not have the equipment to deal with that guy, and unfortunately, he died.
With Conrad and Scherer. Great to have you both here. Again, I say this so many times, but I wish it was under better circumstances. What a case. Art, I'm going to start with you. Let's talk about how he was captured. So we know that authorities in Middletown Township, they had pinged Mohn's phone, and they did this because they realized that his father's car wasn't there. He was missing. Right. They track him to Fort Indiantown Gap. They alerted the local police department. They find out that he jumped the fence to get into the base. They chase him. They arrest him. Thoughts on how they were able to capture him?
Yeah, bizarre case. I mean, this is standard cell phone tracking that is used by just about every single agency at this point.
Wow. I just want to stop that there. I mean, who would ever think that GPS can track people down to their exact location? Like, a certain group of people don't believe GPS actually works. Just putting that out there.
At this point in time. And when you look at this individual's background, obviously this is a narcissistic sociopath.
Agreed.
To commit a crime like this, I mean, law enforcement to respond to that scene and that poor mother coming home.
Oh, that poor woman.
That had to be one bloody mess. Even if you clean it up, still, it's difficult to decapitate someone with a machete and a large knife, which were found near the body. But tracking this individual, I mean, he left enough obvious clues, not only the video, but relatively easy to track him via his cell phone. So he wasn't very sophisticated and in his getaway plan, but obviously he wanted this to be known to the world.
By the way, one of my favorite things about being a host on Law and Crime.
Oh, Jesus Christ. By the way, just a commentary on Law and Crime. Maybe not put the advertisement before you do the story.
They're doing that a lot lately. It's not just them. It's other YouTubers too. I've noticed I'll be listening and I'm like, why am I listening for BetterHelp?
Yeah, like, bro. I mean,
no bueno.
We're talking about a guy who just severed his father's head. Like, can we not do the advertisement in the middle of that? Like, I'm just saying.
I'm going to get your perspective on this because you've clearly presided over cases with disturbing details and disturbing defendants. I mean, as a former government employee yourself, let's talk about the alleged motivation here. I mean, I mentioned in the video, we have come to learn that this defendant is a self-published author. His book titles include The Revolution Leader's Survival Guide, How Schools, Workplaces, and Social Norms Kill the Genius Inside All.
Oh, my God. That just tells me everything about this motherfucker. He is like the type of motherfucker that, basically failed in life and blames everything. But instead of like looking inward for the failures of him not being in a job, he says instead, well, society is killing my genius, and I'm actually some sort of secret genius.
Blame everybody but yourself. So basically, he feels like he's a victim.
Yeah, and that the society is suppressing his genius. And the truth of the matter is, it's society's fault. No, sir, you wouldn't survive in an anarchist society at all. You would be gone, because people like you are nothing but wastes to society. Complete and utter waste. You would not be able to actually farm. You have no skills. You do not know how to farm. You don't know how to hunt. You don't know how to actually cook. You don't know how to do anything in society. You are literally a waste, and this guy is a waste because he's never actually looked inwards to improve the faults he has with himself. Instead, he's just try to get some sort of fame, some sort of attention. And unfortunately, what the parents should have done, honestly, and this is not to shit on the parents, I'm just saying they should have not given him a dime and kicked his ass out. Said, Mister, you're 32 years old, get the fucking job and get out of my house. Okay? You're not here. You're not living here anymore, sir.
I wonder if he was an only child. Sometimes when parents have only child, they kind of goosh more. You know what I mean?
I'll drop the link right now. Sorry, I forgot to drop the link. Let me see. Thank you. Let me just drop it right now. Sorry about that. He should have been on the FBI list from his previous encounter with LA. Yeah.
All of us. The second Messiah, King of Earth, which he says is fictional, but based loosely on his own.
Second Messiah, King of Earth?
Life. The Punishing. And then a pamphlet called America's Coming Bloody Revolution. Let me just add this, too. He's also a singer, posted songs on Spotify. Many of the songs, the writings, the YouTube videos, they're just rants against everything from the LGBTQ community to Black Lives Matter movement, President Joe Biden, to immigrants who are coming into the country illegally. I mean,
I would love to see this. I mean, like, I would love we had like a doctor study his like YouTube algorithm to see what type of videos this motherfucker probably watched. Because I feel like I know the type of videos he probably watched. He probably watches a lot of fucking right-wing fucking wackadoo shit. Like, immigrants are terrible type of videos.
I was about to say, like Nick Fuentes.
Yeah, he's definitely a Nick. I can imagine this motherfucker being a Nick Fuentes fan. 100%.
Red pill incel type of person.
Yeah, like the red pill whole incel thing is also like blaming others for your own faults. It's like, motherfucker, if you want to date, go outside and ask women. Wipe your ass, get a job, and ask some women out on dates. It's not that hard. It really isn't, sir. If you want to date some women, it's not their fault. You don't have to look like a model to get a date with a woman.
Oh yeah, believe me. Go to a bar, get a couple drinks, and get your liquid courage.
Believe
go up to a girl.
The standards women have are not that high. I mean, like, literally, they're like, you have a job. You don't look like Nostradamus. They even probably accept you if you look like Nostradamus. If you just had a job and you were funny. Hell, look at Dolly. He has like 33 women he dated. I mean, that guy looks like.
No, go ahead. I was reading out loud. Sorry.
Yeah. Luckily, he had only 115 subs, but 5,000 views. Well, yeah, probably Reddit came up and told people like, look, watch this video, and it's like the Barbra Streisand effect.
What do you make of that?
My first thought is you usually don't just wake up one day. This guy's in his 30s. Is that
32,
right?
32, yeah.
You don't wake up one day in your 30s, you're low, 32, and just decide to do something so heinous and cruel, like cut off your dad's head. I wonder if there were other things that were leading up to this, that's my first thought, or undetected crimes that he may have committed. Because like I said, usually somebody doesn't just go off the wall. One day they wake up at 32 and completely lose it and start brutally killing family members. So my concern would be whether or not he's done this before and to what extent.
And just adding to that, Judge, my understanding is the Middletown Township Police Lieutenant Pete Feeney came out and said other charges may be filed. What are we looking at there, you think?
I mean, it could be that he escalated up to murder and this is the first time he's committed murder, but I would have a hard time believing that he's never committed a violent type felony prior to this incident, because to take off the head of your own family member, I mean, that's that's about as bad as it gets.
Yeah, no, I can't think of anything much worse, and I cover a crime show every day. This is one of the ones that unfortunately stands out. You talked about the crime.
Yeah, I mean, like that definitely is kind of something I can agree with. There has to be an escalation to events like this. You
Yeah.
can't just wake up one day at 32 and decide to not only shoot your father and murder him, then just cut off his head and then proceed to calmly go in front of a camera and talk about a revolution. Well, not really calm, like the guy was sounding like a whack job I heard from people.
Mhm.
But I mean, it just seems weird. Like it seems a very deliberate act, and there has to be some prior stuff that he might have done or thought about. But yeah, well, what's your thoughts, Tony?
There had to have been a build up to this. He couldn't have just woken up one day and was like, "Okay, this is what I'm gonna do." There had to well, no, because things like that happen. We've talked about school shooters. We've talked about shooters in general, and they just wake up one day and do it with their own convictions, like their own beliefs. Like,
Crime art. Let's
Yeah,
go to something.
yeah. I'm sorry, I hit play that next.
no,
Yeah, I
you're
agree
good.
with you. No, I just hit it accidentally because I was just moving. Yeah, I
I
agree.
I would like to think that there was a buildup, because just killing your own flesh and blood, your father who has supported you, given you money, probably encouraged you, has done everything for you, literally. It can't be just because political beliefs. Like, to me, that's silly, but it can happen.
I mean, I know some. Let me see. To me, he doesn't quite look like I expect him to look. Well, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
unfortunately, a lot of shooters, a lot of people like this that have this very like destroy the world type of deal, like people that want to
Mhm.
lash out at the world society, generally look like normal people. They don't look like fucking crazy monsters. Usually, it's like people that failed at life, and the main reason why they failed at life is because they never really tried, and they
Mhm.
blame other people for not trying. They're angry about not getting dates, but it's because they never tried. They never put themselves out there. They
Mhm.
never went to the gym. They never actually tried to be successful. They never tried to work on relationships. They never tried to put themselves out there. They're mad at this fact that they don't make tons of money, but yet they don't actually strive to get that education. I mean, like, I'll give you an example. I mean, I've seen people who have literally had a day job and then went to night school, and just a regular day job, 8 hours, and then afterwards take a little bit of a break, go to night school for about 4 or 5 more hours, and then go home. And then some of them had kids, and it's like, that shows to me that you have a drive for you want to better your economics. And this guy is literally living at home, and he's getting paid. And he probably is a single parent, a single, one kid. And I just think that's
Mhm.
what you see a lot of times. They're angry because they think that the world should give them stuff. But motherfucker, the world is a very unfair place. I mean, luckily
Amen.
you're not in Liberia and you have to pick up an AK-47 at the age of 12 and deal with cannibals. Cannibal warlords. If you ever want to see a Vice episode, there's a Vice episode called Cannibal Warlords of Liberia. It's about 17 years old documentary, but it's worth watching. But it shows you the child soldiers and how some parts of the world is just not a fair place, and they're not worried about repaying student loans. They're worried about not getting shot and killed by people.
Mhm.
You
This
go
is
to,
absolutely true.
you know what I mean? So I just think like some people think they're entitled to shit. And it's like, no, sir, everyone has to work and everyone has to work at things. And
Mhm.
you get these people like this.
From the crime scene.
Thank
the
you,
Bucks
Grandma,
County
by the way.
detectives and the Middletown Township police officers, like I said, they found Michael Mohn's body in the bathroom. Blood all over the place. You had mentioned the machete and the large knife found in a bathtub. There were bloody rubber gloves that were in the bedroom. And that is where, and I apologize again for saying this, but the father's head was inside of a plastic bag that was put in a cooking pot. Now, I tell you right now, that's not the first time I've heard that, unfortunately. Crime scenes like this, walk me through what you make of it and walk me through how difficult it is for law enforcement personnel to actually canvass that scene.
Yeah, that is the difficult part. I mean, unfortunately, law enforcement comes across obviously different violent scenes on every call that they get. This is very unique. In fact, that you've got an individual that decapitated his father. And I agree with the judge. I went to look at this individual's background, try to do some because it's very odd that this would be the first violent offense that this individual did. But I couldn't even find a parking ticket in his background. So when you look at all when you put all this together, when you look at his writings and you look at his social media accounts, obviously this individual had some major issues when it comes to the federal government.
Yeah, it sounds like he was radicalized. A lot of people don't realize this, but I mean, YouTube had a big problem in earlier days, like 2018, 2017, 2018, and going up almost to 2020. It probably still has that problem because it's called the pipeline. And basically, it's like, okay, let's say I am this gentleman. I'm in my 20s, right? I have failing no career. I have a crushing student loan debt, and I am, and I am very angry. So I start typing into YouTube about, how shitty the federal government is, and I go to this YouTuber that talks about, very sane points. Like I would say, who's that? Ben Shapiro. I watch Ben Shapiro, right? I watch him. I love him. A fantastic guy, right? Then I get started recommended other videos that are more extreme because YouTube likes to recommend videos that get the most engagement. And usually videos that get the most engagement are usually the most extreme videos. And then I start watching them, and slowly but surely it talks about crazier and crazier things to the point where some of them are talking about revolution and how the government is, you shouldn't pay taxes because that's against the law, the Constitution, and stuff like that.
It's a rabbit hole. It's like a rabbit hole.
And
like I know what you're talking about because sometimes I'm on YouTube on my phone before bed and I'm like, how did I get here? I was just looking up video games.
yeah, and what happens is eventually it warps his brain, his thought process to believe these things because instead of looking inward and understanding that he has failed himself because he is not attempting to do what he's supposed to do, which is to do stuff and fail. You get fired from one job, well, you wake up the next morning and get another job. If you got the wrong degree from college, then maybe you should have just got a better degree. That was your mistake. That wasn't the federal government's mistake. That was your mistake.
Yeah.
But then, like, YouTube videos are telling him that this is a conspiracy to suppress the white man and suppress, you from rebellion, and then you build into this fantasy that you are some sort of rebel and that the world is against you and that you should, and it warps your brain. And I think that's probably what happened to this guy.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Ben Shapiro either, Julie. But I can see how it can be appealing to others. He called for the impeachment of the FBI director, Christopher Ward.
Yeah.
Laurie, last February on his Facebook. So he's been brewing for a while.
I mean, like, that's what happens with a lot of people. So maybe he just got radicalized by a lot of videos. And I think that's the dangerous thing about, the algorithm. The algorithm will recommend basically an echo chamber, and it will warp your perception of the world because you're only looking at the world through the algorithm. You're not seeing the whole picture of everything. And I think that's what happened to this gentleman because he's, one of those people that, never had to grow up. His mommy and daddy basically helped him out to do his stupid ass dreams, like going to Vegas and singing and writing shitty books. But he was never hit with the hard reality of, hey, you don't have enough money to eat and you might need to fucking try to get a job or you're going to be hungry. Or, oh shit, I got to pay my rent and I got to do that. And then, that's pretty much it. That's the situation. Oh, play more.
Samantha.
Hello, Samantha.
Espousing this right-wing stuff that he's put out there on the internet. And when you roll this back to the crime scene, this is what you've got. Something, and Judge also brought it up, something that must have triggered this individual to commit this crime on this particular day at this particular time. So usually there's a triggering event that occurs here. But my thoughts go out to the family. It has to put up with this. This is a horrible situation for anyone's family, and obviously law enforcement coming upon that type of scene and having to go through the process that they do every time they come across a crime scene. That's a difficult process for law enforcement and for the CSI individuals.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine.
Yeah.
And talking about his past, Judge, we've learned he had he's been in and out of court, or at least tried to be in and out of court. He had several legal battles in civil court, didn't get very far. He sued the federal government for, quote, negligently and fraudulently inducing him to borrow money for college, knowing that it would be hard for him to pay it back.
Well, that goes in the category of you should have done your research before taking out a loan, you dumb motherfucker. I mean, I took out a student loan. I'm not going to front. I took out a student loan, but you know what? I went to a college where I knew that I would get a return, and I did get a return. I got a fantastic return on my education, but that's because I took the advice of adults who are smarter than me. And by the way, when you're a kid, you know, adults are smarter than you. Certain adults are very smart, and I took their recommendation. And I took away the delusions of doing things like, you know, I mean, originally I wanted to be a lawyer, but then I came to the realization that I did not have the money. I could not just go to school and not have a job. And I had to pick something that was going to put money in my pocket as soon as possible. And that's what happened. But this guy never faced that because he was never put, I guess his parents never told him to make proper choices. Maybe that's a mistake a lot of parents do, but you know, he should have knew better.
They could have told him, you know, the proper choices and stuff, but clearly there's something wrong, and there has to be something wrong in his head.
Yeah,
I mean, look where he is now is what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, student loan is hell.
I mean, student loan is hell if you take out loans without actually doing research and where you're going to college and how much you're going to get a degree in. I think he got, what was it, business something management or something like that. I gotta look at the degree that he went for. Let me see. Student car filing, so $2,000. Student employee progressive insurance. What's another article? Let me see his background. I'll play the video and I'll look up his background on it.
Graduate of Penn State. He is an overeducated white man, can't pay back his loans. There was a recent filing in 2023. The judge threw it out, said there's no legal standing. I imagine if these cases were brought before you, you might have said the same thing. I mean, what do you make of those kind of cases?
He seems like wants to be the center of attention. He's a narcissist and wants to be, you know, whether or not it's a legitimate cause of action or not. It seems like he wants to be in the middle of it. He wants people talking about him. In fact, this is probably part of his plan, I would think. Otherwise, why go on YouTube? Why go on YouTube and flaunt this type of heinous crime? My hope is that there were no warning signs that we missed, because that would be an all too familiar scenario when people are basically telling you.
It said agro business management. I don't even know what that is.
I was about to say, I don't even know what that is.
What is agro business management? Maybe I'm a little.
When you say agro, I'm thinking, you know,
applies the business theories and practices to the agriculture. I figured that agriculture industry to lower costs, boost profits, and ensure that the farm or food products are grown to distribute it effectively.
Oh,
why the hell would you get a degree like that without getting into like farming?
It's. I feel like he set himself up to fail. Like he wanted this. Because he wasn't trying.
Yeah, like, bro,
he knew what he was doing.
I could have told him to be an electrician, and he probably would be like he'd be a millionaire at the age of 32, to be honest with you.
In no uncertain terms that they're going to do something bad. And commonly, myself included, you think, oh, person's just talking, it'll never happen. But my hope is that we don't find out that there were, clear warning signs that should have been looked into on the part of law enforcement or others.
This Mohn case is awful. That's a given, but it's important. It's important to talk about. And the truth is, we're able to tell stories like these. We're able to bring you this information and analysis because of the support that we get from our partners. And that is why.
Oh, Jesus Christ, with the fucking advertisements. I get it, but like, I feel like some of them are just like a little fucking off. Like,
right.
Like, I feel like the advertisement's like, a woman was murdered in her bed. But you know what you can do? You could get this fantastic deal, 20% off on this bed.
Right.
Like,
it is. It's very like, oh God.
Like, bro, like, do you really need to like segue off this shit? Like, maybe like before and maybe after. I get people need to skip your thing, but like, man, some of this shit, like where they place this ad is like way inappropriate. I just feel like, but whatever. Luckily, I have the fast forward button.
Yeah. Real quick before you press play, did this guy have any job whatsoever? Grandma Sherry said something about, Walmart. And I was thinking, oh, if he did work at Walmart, at least he was trying. But he didn't have a job, did he? He wasn't trying.
I checked that he had a progressive job, but he sued for sexual discrimination on that one. What was his current job? That was an intro one.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, was he working? Because his parents were giving him $500 and something a month. And he doesn't have to worry about rent, utilities, food. So that $500 probably went all to pot.
Yeah, probably went to fucking BS pot, probably, and stupid shit. Let me see. Let me see. The QAnon believer who allegedly kept his dead showing of all federal employees' severed head. Let me see. She was mean smirking and judge. After graduating in 2014 with a degree in agribusiness management, Mohn was unable to secure a job commensurate with his education or sufficient enabled him to maintain his student loan payments. Mohn chalked up his lack of employment to employers' perception of him as an overeducated white male, which led him to an affirmative action against him, Wallace providing no benefit. He appealed of the case, claims as a result of Mohn was forced to move back to his parents' home, Middletown Township, Pennsylvania. After his claims were dismissed, Mohn sought to have a judge assigned to the case removed, claiming they had personal bias, conflicting personal financial interests. The judge, identified as Kearney J., noted that he denied his third complaint after Mohn failed to pay the filing fees and swore to have over $2,000 in his bank account. He only spent his money to buy marijuana for recreational medical use. Okay, bro. Judge responded to Mohn's claim by saying they were speculative and largely inaccurate and chalked up the complaint to him being disappointed college graduate. It says Middletown Township Police were called to report deceased. Let me see. He's now in hell. Okay. Yeah. So might have. I don't know about the Walmart job.
Well, no, I'm not saying he worked at Walmart. I'm saying, did he have any type of job?
He probably did, but I don't know. It doesn't say what job he has. I mean, but he just basically smokes marijuana. I mean, like, nothing against marijuana. I mean, whatever.
We are very marijuana positive here. So.
You're marijuana positive. I'm more like, I'm not. I'm not like, I don't want to do that stuff because I just don't. I hate the
that's
smell.
your thing. I respect that.
I hate the smell. I personally, whenever those $2 cabs things, from the, wherever, I personally pay those people extra money. I say, do not pick up anyone else because I don't want I don't want to be in a car with someone who might be smoking marijuana. I hate the fucking smell. It actually makes me sick, actually. So that's why I don't like. But I'm going to say that this guy probably should not have been spending his money on marijuana. He should have been probably focusing on paying his student loan. I mean, probably they gave him $550. My guess, the reason why they gave him $550, and this is just a speculative guess, is probably to pay his student loan because that's probably how much he was charged. He was being charged for per month. So the parents probably gave him $540 or something like $540, not $550. They probably gave him $540 to pay his student loans, and then everything extra would be in his pocket. That's my guess. Because and if it's like, and if he's paying like $540, that means he probably had a student loan level of like at least $40,000-$50,000.
That's a big loan.
Yeah, I mean, I could just imagine it probably in the tens of thousands. And I don't know if like a lot of times a lot of people make horrible mistakes where they take out like loans just to get cash in their pocket, and it doesn't even go to the class.
Uncle Pickles said he named a federal judge and various federal officers, saying that he was putting a bounty on them. He gave the address of the federal judge during the video. Isn't that a terror threat? That's definitely doxing. That's definitely.
I would say that's the understatement of the year.
I mean, it's a call to bear arms, is what it is.
That would be a terroristic threat. And
yeah,
yes, he did name that person. He did do that. That's actually a fact. I read that. Yeah, that would be a terroristic threat. I would honestly think him trying to like cause a revolution and murder it and saying people go out to arms. Yeah, honestly, like this guy should get the death sentence. He should just
Oh, most definitely.
Absolutely. That's what I'd call Uncle. Yeah, I would say it's definitely a terroristic threat. Hello, Denise.
He, by the way, he also had sued Progressive
Hey, Denise.
Insurance, where he once worked. He said that he didn't progress in the company. He didn't get ahead because women were given the priority, which turned out not to be true because he really was fired for allegedly kicking open an office door, which is obviously a big no-no. But you mentioned,
Yeah, like that thing to me, like, look at that. He's like saying, oh, women are getting hired over me. Well, maybe they just worked harder than you, sir. I mean,
Is that his CD? Do you think that's
yeah, that's
his
his
music?
CD. He was a singer as well.
I don't like his
And no, we are not listening to any of his songs.
No,
Absolutely fucking not.
no, I'm not getting no.
Absolutely fucking not. I don't want to advertise this shit. I hope this guy's songs get all removed, his books get burnt, and he goes back to no one knowing who the fuck this guy is after this. The only thing I want people to know this guy as is a scumbag who is some evil fuck that murdered his father, who gave him every opportunity in life to be a productive and happy member of society. He grew up in a secured country where he didn't have to worry about being shot or anything like that. And he threw that all away because he's fucking an entitled little fucking brat that just fucking and
He does. Look at that smug look on it. Like that right there makes me angry. His face makes me angry. B.
yeah, well, he's gonna enjoy jail because they're gonna enjoy that face when he gets to jail. Especially when he finds out that those people that he's made those comments about anti-LGBT, he's gonna have to hang out with the Nazis.
Race.
Yeah, he's gonna have to hang out with the Nazis, and the Nazis are not gonna like him too much because they're not gonna like the fact that he murdered his own father, probably.
These kind of warning signs. And my first thought was, as this case progresses, if it's not ultimately he takes a plea deal, or excuse, not even a deal, but
they're not giving this motherfucker a plea deal.
Mind you, this is his mugshot of after the fact.
Yeah, after he murdered his father, shot his father, went into the bathroom and cut off his father's head. And I don't need to describe the details of how the fucking terrible how that would be, but it's not easy and it's fucking horrifying that this guy took a machete and did this with a knife and then proceeded to put it in a plastic bag, dress himself up. I don't know if he took the shower before or after he did this. I don't know. But this motherfucker dressed himself up, went on a live stream, and proceeded to parade his father's decapitated head, talking about revolution and talking about bounties on people and claiming that he's the president of the United States. I mean, and then after that, he decided to run off and try to kill more people. And this guy's smiling. Honestly, that's an evil fucking thing. I can't believe it.
It is. It just makes me mad.
They must be able to add some harsh charges. Oh, they'll probably add some harsh charges. He's probably getting fucking charged with terroristic shit.
Yeah.
Would a mental health defense potentially be something of interest for a defense counsel in this kind?
No, a mental health defense would not help because he turned in his marijuana card so he can get the gun. Then he planned out the events. A mental health defense is like me hearing voices and I shoot Tony because I think he's like a monster or something. You know what I mean? Like that's a mental health defense, a werewolf, or a mental health defense is like something that would happen like that. A planned out event where you're planning on the murder of your relative and you even to the point where so you can get the gun, turn in your marijuana license. No, I doubt that. That will never work. This guy's going not only to jail, but he's burning in hell.
Kind of case you think? And I know we have limited.
Read what Uncle Pickle said.
That's a defense.
This is he must have showered before and went on the live. He was way too clean for. That's what I'm thinking. So my guess is this guy did that act, cleaned up the mess in the bathtub, and then took a shower where he decapitated his father's head.
Mind you, the mother found like she found her husband like that.
Like that and I don't mean to say this to sound to sound gross, but I'm just saying like this is cold. That is fucking cold.
It is.
And I like people to know that is not in the moment I did something. This is planned, premeditated murder of his own father.
He has a manifesto. Obviously, if this is in the manifesto, it's premeditated.
And this guy was just a coward in heart.
It rarely works. There's very rare circumstances. Even if you're mentally ill, you have to be in a basically a psychotic episode
Yep.
of a certain period of time, and you have to. There's a whole lot of criteria that needs to be met. It seems to me that the planning that went into this, and the planning both before and after.
That poor guy, man. Jesus Christ.
He has no idea of the psycho right beside him.
I feel bad for that whole family. Like, you know, I mean, like, to raise
They've
this
lost
kid,
somebody important.
yeah, to raise this kid, to give him these opportunities to work his ass off, to raise this kid, and this ungrateful piece of shit murders him and decides to do this.
Would contradict a defense of insanity, which would be a mental health defense. It seems to me that the way that he carried out the murder, then
planned it,
took steps to put the head in the bag, and then leave it, and then do a video on it.
Yep.
Psychotic episode that I'm familiar with does not last that long. That's like a 2-hour ordeal, and I don't think that.
She forgot to mention the cleanup. Possibly he might have went taken a shower, changed himself, might have rehearsed a little bit how he's going to do the live stream, the speech. He might even wrote the speech so when he can read it. Highly doubt that that's going to be the mental defense. Most likely, and they're not going to give this motherfucker a plea deal. This motherfucker is going to trial, and they're going to fucking parade his ass all around.
Yeah. Just to recap, I don't remember. The top shooter, they shot him, right? He's dead. Or did they capture him? Sorry, my phone's going off.
I think he surrendered himself. Let me just say, I think
he surrendered. Because I'm trying to see, like, because with him, people thought it was like a mental thing. No. And I was kind of like, no, it was premeditated. He had a manifesto. We read the manifesto. We have a show. We do have an episode.
Yeah,
he's
alive. Yeah, he's alive.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, but yeah, no, you can't claim a mental defense if you plan out the murders. You just can't. It doesn't work that way. You know, like it has to be like a manic episode where you're like, for instance, like a classic defense would be like, let's say like you're on a train, right? You're in a train station. You're on a train station, and a homeless person or a person hears voices, and he pushes someone in front of a train because the voices tell him to do so. That would be a defense. That would be he would probably get a mental defense because he could especially get a history of mental problems and stuff like that, or he wasn't on his medication. That would be a defense because it would be in the moment. He didn't plan it. It would be like something that just happened. You'd get like that. That would be your defense. But like, let's say the guy went home and he tracked down the person. He knew exactly who he was going to push into the train. He knew the guy's routine and then came there and pushed him. And then he couldn't claim, oh, well, I was having a mental issue for about fucking 3 days. No, it just doesn't work that way.
I don't think that this is going to meet that criteria, in my opinion.
And Art,
with what I know right now.
Yeah, and Art, I mean, I'll let you
know,
Jesse, that.
Yeah, you know, Jesse, a lot of times too, with these types of individuals, in my experience, I'm kind of surprised he's not on somebody's radar. Generally, when you have an individual that files a lot of cases, there generally follows on to that a threat to.
Yeah, well, JLR has about what fucking 3,000 cases. I mean, he has a lot of cases.
Oh, I haven't heard that name before in a long time.
Oh, he's doing pretty good right now. He's actually just filming the border, and he's got like 6,000 people watching him live. I mean, like, he's not bothering anyone. I mean, I guess, and then people like his content now. As long as he's not bothering anyone, I guess, whatever. C'est la vie, sir. You do your. I wish everyone say la vie and do the same thing. Just move on to content that doesn't hurt people, and I won't be talking about you, basically. I'll probably talk about you positively. But if you continue to do bullshit, I'll probably talk about it. But anyway, I'll keep on into play.
Some kind. So if I was with that PD, I'd be checking with the U.S. Marshals, with the county, to find out if he's threatened any judges or any other public officials, even check with Secret Service to see if he's possibly on their radar. But this type of individual usually will follow on with threats to public officials.
And let me just throw that back to you, Judge. I mean, in a position like you had, were you ever concerned about something like this? Have you ever seen anybody in your courtroom like this espousing kind of these beliefs and thoughts about government workers or the federal government or anything like that?
Most of the time, when they're doing this, they don't actually believe it. They're just saying these things to get attention.
Right.
That's what I found. People don't. They're just doing whatever they can to get somebody to pay attention. And even in court, I'll frequently have to tell people like this, sir, it's not your turn. It's somebody else's turn, and you need to wait your turn. And the continuous interrupting, and usually that is not a sign of mental illness, because even mentally ill people can control themselves and don't just shout out and start making, allegations. And
That's very true. I've actually sat
Mhm.
across people who were like schizophrenic, hearing voices, and when they're on their medications, they can be as calm as a cucumber. And they'll answer your questions. They'll tell you, "Yeah, I hear the voices. Yeah, they tell me about killing people. Yeah, they tell me about." I've sat across. I could
Yeah.
probably tell you a story, but can't say it on live stream, obviously. But yeah, like they could be very, very cool, like
Yeah.
surprisingly very honest with their answers, and they'll answer your questions, especially if they're on medications. It's like kind of
Yeah.
scary. It's pretty scary to sit in front of across someone that is like telling you the truth about all the voices and everything. You'll never think the same. But yeah, I've seen that. I wonder if
And
he will call abuse at home and part of his defense.
yeah.
You often see that being a political driven. Probably that, or he's probably going to claim that, like, knowing this moron, he'll probably say the courts have no jurisdiction. I am a soldier under the Geneva
Yeah.
Convention, and the courts cannot arraign me. I am a prisoner of war. I'm probably imagine that shit. If he's going to be like one of those fucking wackadoos or something like that.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know how
I mean,
he's going
look at the Menendez brothers. That's their defense.
I don't know what the motherfucker's defense is going to be for this.
I don't know. I have no idea. But I could see them coming out with like an abuse type thing, and
Yeah,
like
I don't
mental
know.
abuse, physical abuse.
and threatening public officials. That's not clear indications of a mental illness.
Yeah, no shit,
Usually
lady.
it's just I hate to say this, but a sociopath or
Right.
narcissistic behavior, and
Or an evil prick.
it's all about them.
Art, let me finish this up by focusing on one concern that I have. Obviously, I have a lot of concerns about this case, but the YouTube video, right? So YouTube, in a statement, they said, quote, "The video was removed for violating our graphic violence policy, and Justin Mohn's channel was terminated in line with our violent extremism policies. Our teams are closely tracking now to remove any re-uploads of the video."
Well,
That
too
is
late.
my concern. So, kudos to
Yes.
YouTube for taking it off as soon as they found out what was going on. I am concerned about his, and for our listeners who knows that our message, I'm using it in quotation marks here, that being spread. I mean, 5,000 views. It was up there for a while. What would your concern be as a law enforcement trying to make sure that that doesn't get disseminated further?
As we all know, once stuff's posted on the internet, that's it.
Yeah.
It's out there. Even though there's only 5,000 views, it can be reposted. But unfortunately, it's out there right now. And I'm sure there's been a lot more than 5,000 views of this.
Oh, it's terrible to think about.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't think anybody should ever watch what he posted. Judge Scherer, Art Roderick, thank you both so much for coming on, breaking down this case, giving us a way to understand what is a situation that's hard to understand, but really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, so let's go to the press conference. All right, let's go to the press conference.
You know what, Uncle Pickles? Probably.
What did they-
Like I hope that it will be
shift
very, very interesting if the mom speaks. I feel so bad for her. I can't imagine what she must be going through. I hope she, emphasis on she, has lots of support around. I do too. I could never imagine walking into that and then finding out your son did it. Like that's a
Yeah.
double whammy right there. But she'll
Oh.
probably speak out in her own time.
Yeah.
And I hope the media lets her speak out in her own time because she needs to process this.
Yeah.
Police arrived at 7:06 p.m. The victim has been identified as Michael Francis Mohn, who was 68 years of age. He resided at that residence with his wife and his adult son. He was a federal employee with the Army Corps of Engineers. The victim's white Toyota Corolla and his adult son Justin Daniel Mohn were missing from the residence.
You know, it kind of gives me. If he's I'm thinking to myself that he probably didn't even choose the degree that he went in for.
Do you think the parents chose?
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean-
thinking the parents chose for him, and he was such a weak-willed individual. He took it, right?
Yeah.
And then he instead of blaming himself, he and that could be a motivation for why he got anger at his father. I'm thinking that his father, because he's a engineer, right? Works. Just one moment.
Employee with the Army Corps of Engineers.
Army Corps of Engineers. So I'm thinking that explains why he has such a vitriol anger to his father, forcing, and that's just my thought process. And that's why he directed his anger at his father, and that's why he directed his saying that he didn't choose it and he was coerced, and he tried to blame the federal government, and that's why he never really pursued that particular career, because he wanted to be something else.
Yeah,
that's my thought process. Do you think that's a big a leap?
I mean, it's not a leap. At this point, anything could be possible, but just remember, everybody, these are just, theories and stuff. We don't know for factual, but it does seem plausible.
I think that's most likely, and that explains his anger, and that probably explains his motivation for killing his father. His father is like basically I would say what he would, like the father would be like an example. I'm trying to think of the proper word. Like
it has to be more than his father was just a federal worker.
No, I'm thinking, well, what happened was, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that most likely his father directed him to get the agro business thing. Probably said, "Hey, son, this would be a great business opportunity," and he had no interest in it, and he just did it because his father told him to do it. And then he, instead of blaming himself for picking that career or telling his dad no, he decides to do it, and then tries to blame the federal government for the loan and blame his father. And I think that's probably his motive for killing his father, was probably in part that his anger towards that, and his father represented basically the government in a way, and maybe he was a very meek person who's never really who's been easily kind of pushed to choices in life, and his father represented the person in his head pushing him to choices. But that's just my thoughts, my speculation, my tinfoil hat theory. That's just my thoughts. I think sadly we are going to see more of this over the next 9 months, probably, because there's a lot of whack jobs out there that can't just simply, like, I wish I'd just talk to some of these people and say, listen, South Park had it best, and I hate bringing up South Park, but you either choose for a douche or what is it, a condom or a
sandwich,
a turd sandwich or a douche. That's who you're gonna vote for. And honestly, they're both basically the same with slight differences. And basically, you shouldn't get into fights with family over it. You shouldn't get mad about people who are Democrats or Republicans. In the end of the day, they're both the same. The only difference is one has slightly different social issues, belief than the other. And that's pretty much it. And, my advice to them is, if you really want to effectuate change, focus on local politics, things that you can actually change, and focus on things that help your community. And that's pretty much it. Presidential elections usually do not help your community as much as local elections help your communities more. So just my thoughts on that. But, just a thought.
The victim's white Toyota Corolla and his adult son, Justin Daniel Mohn, were missing from the residence. Justin Daniel is 32 years of age. Police started a homicide investigation, and the vehicle was entered into NCIC. Police were advised of a YouTube video depicting Justin Mohn holding the severed head of his father, Michael Mohn.
Terrible.
Multiple calls were received by 911. Details of the video are as follows. The video is a 14-minute and 34-second video of Justin Mohn, where it is titled Mohn's Militia. It's a call to arms for American patriots. The video appears to be taken in the same bedroom of the home where bloody gloves were found. In the video, Justin Mohn is holding a human head detached from the body that was wrapped in plastic. Justin Mohn advised that the head is Mike Mohn's head. During the video, Justin Mohn advised that Mike Mohn is in hell for being a traitor to his country. During the video, Justin Mohn provides his identity and advises that he is the commander of America's National Network of Militia, also known as Mohn's Militia. During the video, Justin Mohn advises that he is giving the following order for all militia and patriots across the USA to kill federal employees. He also ordered that individuals from the FBI, IRS, and other federal law enforcement officers, and for those that work at the courthouse, to be arrested, that all federal agents, U.S. Marshals, federal judges, and Border Patrol be captured and tortured for information, and then publicly executed. Justin divulges the home address of a federal judge and puts a bounty on his head and heads of high-ranking federal officials. He demands violence against all federal employees, but exempts state government, state governors, and state employees. The suspect's phone was pinged, and it was, again, an outstanding effort by law enforcement to work in such a expeditious fashion, pinging the defendant's phone and identifying his location. It was determined that the
So what's your thoughts on that, Tony?
It just screams premeditated. I know it's premeditated, but there has to be something wrong in his head too at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't think
it's like I'm not going to be able to keep silent.
It's a lot. It's disgusting. And yes, trigger warning. Thank you. Trigger warning. This is dark.
Yeah, it's very dark, and it's unfortunately, I believe that it's a bit of the algorithm to blame. Brainwashes people every fucking day.
Mm-hmm.
And also a bit, and this man's fault as well. This man who blamed everyone but himself for his failures in life, and he proceeded to kill a representation of the federal government, which is his father. Blamed him for everything, and just how it is. It's a very sad situation. It's just a terrible situation.
It's horrible. Anyway,
the location was shown.
If you don't know, we're talking about the Mohn case, just the Mohn case, where a man beheaded his own father, went on a rant on a 14-minute YouTube video and proclaimed that he is, calling for revolution, and eventually got him. But it was pretty bad. It was up for 6 hours, the video.
Going at Fort Indian Town Gap, a National Guard training center in Lebanon County, Pennsylvania. The suspect drove his vehicle to this location. He climbed a barbed wire fence. After he drove his vehicle past the barricades first, exited his vehicle, climbed a barbed wire fence, and entered the secured military installation. Fort Indian Town Gap Police Department were notified of the ping in their jurisdiction. Shortly thereafter, Fort Indian Town Gap Police Department and the Pennsylvania State Police located Justin Mohn trespassing on governmental property. Justin Mohn was taken into custody without incident. The defendant had a loaded Sig Sauer 9mm handgun on him, and it was loaded, as mentioned, missing one round. Justin Mohn was taken into custody. The defendant stated he went to Fort Indian Town Gap in an effort to mobilize the PA National Guard to raise arms against the federal government. He also indicated that he wanted to speak to Governor Shapiro to join forces. The autopsy of Michael Mohn was conducted on Thursday, February 2nd, by Dr. Ian Hood, forensic pathologist. It was determined that Michael Mohn suffered a gunshot wound to his head and then was subsequently dismembered, and that the mechanism was the use of a knife to sever limbs and tendons, and then ultimately a machete to sever a spinal column. This investigation, again, I can't speak more highly of the work that was done by my colleagues and fellow members of law enforcement. They identified the fact that the defendant purchased a firearm the day before murdering his father. He purchased that firearm at Johnson's in Croydon, Bristol Township, Bucks County on January 29th. The defendant is a graduate from Neshaminy High School and Penn State main campus. He previously worked and lived in Colorado, working for a contractor for Microsoft Corp. He's currently unemployed. He has no history.
Oh, so he was working at Microsoft Corp. Okay, let me see. No, that. I was reading articles and I didn't know that. Let me see.
Hey, Pecan Pie. Oh, no, I did say hi to Wing. Okay, make sure to say hi to everybody.
History of diagnosed mental health issues.
Thank you,
and there
Grandma.
are presently no 302s or 201s in his history. I am going to turn it over to Chief Joseph Bartarillo, and then we'll be available to answer any questions you may have.
All right, let's get a break in here. Disturbing details being released from this horrible incident in Pennsylvania. We'll get a break here. We'll go back and pick up the rest of that press conference. We're also waiting for the...
Yeah. I don't know. It's pretty fucked up. And
Good evening, everyone. I'm Chief Joe Bartarella from the Middletown Township Police Department. So I want to start off just by saying that me and my entire police department, our hearts ache for the Mohn family. I know we had a meeting with them last night at our police headquarters with victims advocacy. And I just want to let everyone know that we will be with them every step of the way through this incredible ordeal that they're going through. And also our Upper Orchard community, which is one of our small communities within our Levittown section of our township. You know, as the whole community mourns and aches over this, that our police department will be right there with them as they recover, you know, on the road to recovery from what they've had to experience. You know, the family was very well known, had a lot of neighbors and close friends that really cared about them. So I just want to put that out there first and foremost. Next, the one thing I want to do is recognize all of the law enforcement agencies that played, you know, such a huge role in.
yeah, I think they did a very good job in tracking this guy down. I mean, like breakneck speed to track him
Absolutely.
down. I think they did a fantastic job. I would criticize YouTube taking 6 hours to delete the fucking channel and take down the video. Seems a little slow to me. If it was like 2 hours or an hour, I'd be like, okay, that's not bad. But 6 hours, bro. Like Twitter deleted a video of a live stream of a mass shooting in less than probably like two minutes, I think, or less than 2 minutes.
Yeah. The
that
damage
was
was already done, but yes.
Yeah, but that was live stream. They cut
Yeah.
his ass off quick. But taking 6 hours, bro, you need to fucking work on your shit a little bit quicker.
It's sad. The whole situation is just sad.
Yeah, I'm glad there's a lot of people supporting this woman. I mean, like, it's just a tragic situation. She gave birth to this fucking monster,
Yeah.
and then her lover of her life is fucking murdered by this monster, and you know,
Desecrated the body.
she's never gonna live in that house again. She'll probably move the fuck out. You know,
I
probably
would
get rid of that.
too.
You know what I mean? It's just a house, you know, just destroyed the memories of the house, destroyed the memories of her husband, you know, everything. It's just a terrible situation. And it's just fucking horrible.
Making such a fast apprehension and bringing closure to this in getting the apprehension within hours of the crime occurring. We were discussing that if Justin hadn't been apprehended, can you imagine the manhunt that would have been underway, you know, shortly thereafter, and how everything would have been focused on finding him, and how the entire community would have been in a state of panic. So one of the things I want to do right now is just praise our law enforcement. From my police department, our Detective Sergeant, Zach Brocious, he's the one that actually did, you know, what they call it the ping. I say tracking Justin's cell phone and pinpointing where he was. Two of our detectives are here. Our lead detectives on the case, Jake Gallagher and Kevin Platnacki, but all of our detectives were at the scene that night. And that was our first priority, you know, getting to the scene, preserving the scene, but then locating Justin, who went quickly from a person of interest, obviously, to the suspect. And with that, police department that I'm learning more about every day, the Fort Indian Town Gap PD, who did an incredible job of rapidly responding.
Real quick, I'll be right back.
And told them.
You want to wait for you?
No. Go ahead. Keep playing the video. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, I think the police department did a fantastic job again. This guy, you know, I'm just glad they caught him, because I think this guy would have hurt more people in this situation. I think he probably would have. I mean, if you could do that to your own father, who else can you hurt? You know what I mean? So I'm glad they caught him. I'm glad they stopped this wackadoo from fucking hurting more people. And I only call him a wackadoo because not for his legal defense, where he's going to claim diminished capacity or some sort of like fucking mental illness. I think this guy planned out these events, and I think this guy should get the death sentence if there is possible. And if that's not possible, life in prison.
That we had a general idea of Justin's location based on cell phone tracking. They located, Fort Indian Town Gap Police Department located his car first, and then later on, based on continuous cell phone tracking, were able to locate and detain him without incident. I don't know the full circumstances.
That always gets to me with these cowardly motherfuckers that decide to kill people like this for their political gains. Like they like pretend that they're some sort of patriots. But then when a motherfucker has a gun towards them, they'll drop down that motherfucking gun and surrender themselves in quicker than you can think about. Because in the truth, they're cowards at heart. Mass shooters like this, cowards. People that kill people like this are cowards. You know, he probably waited till his dad was asleep or something and did that because he's a coward. So I like that to let people know that he is a coward. He is a fucking pathetic human being that has failed everything in life. And I hope if he does go to jail for life, I hope that he is reminded of his failures. And I hope everyone reminds him of his failures in life and how pathetic he is. And not, you know, let that be known to the world that this is the face of failure. This is the face of a man who was not a man, but a child.
As to where he was detained, I think he did climb over a fence and get into the fort. He might have been armed, but you have to ask their police department about it. I'm very grateful to the Fort Indiantown Gap PD for the outstanding work they did in getting that apprehension as quickly as they did. So given that, I do want to thank them, and also Pennsylvania State Police. And in addition to our police department, we're very blessed to work in a county where we have an outstanding relationship, and we do a lot of mutual aid and we assist each other. We're 39 small police departments, 43 law enforcement agencies, supported by what I think is the best district attorney's office in the state. So I want to thank District Attorney Shorn, Chief of County Detectives Martin McDonough, and his entire staff, and also our coroner's office as well, for their incredible support in helping us process the crime scene and being there to provide the additional resources that we needed in order to handle, you know, what has become, you know, a very significant event and case that's gaining, you know, national, if not worldwide attention. So I just wanted to make sure that I thanked, you know, everyone who supported us through this. So our detectives were on it from the start, and they're still
they're detailing this horrible case out of Pennsylvania. Christopher.
I'm back, by the way. Sorry.
You can tell it's a small community. The way that they are, you know, presenting this press conference, this is hard to understand, I'm sure, for those people. And
it sounds like no history of mental illness, but that doesn't mean that it was an undiagnosed mental illness.
Why does it always have to be mental illness for a guy to do an evil act? The guy did the act. The guy planned out the motherfucking act. He planned out the murder of his father because he probably hated his father. He probably had some sort of disgust, like he just hated he hated society, he hated his father, he hated any authority figure, and he probably did that. I mean, I don't think it's mental health.
But also, can we also do this too, and also think this way? The taboo of mental health, and you know, oh, they don't plan it. It's just a psychotic break. There's different levels of, you know, mental illness, and people who are mentally ill, they can plan out shit. They can, you know, make a manifesto. They can do that. It's just harder to be like, were you mentally ill or were you not?
Well, you're gonna have to prove when the mental illness started and when the mental illness, like when the manic state started and when it didn't. Like if you're writing down your manifesto and you're planning out events and stuff like that, that goes against you in your mental health defense. You know, you're basically insanity defense.
Yeah.
And recognized. I also, you know, some of the things that came to mind that I was writing down during the press conference was depravity and how polarized we are as a nation. And it made me think of the Branch Davidians and the militia that like kind of arose out of that, and the hatred for federal officials, and which ultimately led to the bombing, of course, of the federal building in Tulsa. And I don't know why I'm drawing this, you know, connection, but with his, you know, the rhetoric about, you know, federal, you know, killing federal officers and federal judges and the FBI. And you know, we've just gotten so polarized that I think that there are people that are particularly susceptible that are, I believe, mentally ill and potentially undiagnosed that are very persuaded by the rhetoric.
See, this is what gets to me. Like, stop using mental illness as a reason for a guy to chop off his father's head.
Yeah.
And parade it and put it on a live stream. That is not the situation here. I don't think this guy is mentally ill. I think this guy is not mentally ill. I think this guy was probably brain rotted from a lot of fucking right-wing crazy shit that he probably watched on YouTube. And I think he probably had anger towards his father. And he planned out the motherfucking event. I do not believe this guy is mentally ill. I do not believe he's some sort of like diagnosed schizophrenic or some shit like that. I think he really planned out the events. He knew what he was doing, and he knew he was committing evil, and he should burn for it.
About, you know, government officials being corrupt, and, you know, that we need to do something about it, and they can't be trusted, and judges can't be trusted. And, you know, I think that we need to be very careful of our rhetoric, you know, when we speak. And I think that we influence people like this man. And you rarely hear of a crime so gruesome, that resulted. But the rhetoric, I think, is important to think of in the context of all of this as well.
Yeah, very good point.
I kind of just, like rhetoric is important to avoid, especially if you're talking about like, crazy things like overthrowing the government and shit like that.
Yeah.
But the man made his own decision.
Mhm.
He wasn't mentally ill. I do not believe he was mentally ill. He planned out these events and he did them.
I don't think
I feel like
I
they're
don't
giving
think
him
he
an
had a
excuse.
manic episode, because when you have a manic episode, everybody knows I'm bipolar 1.
Yeah.
When you have a manic episode, I can't do anything. I just exist. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're doing everything at once. I can't picture myself, but also it's not fair for me to compare my illness to somebody else's. So it's like a double-edged sword. But when somebody's manic, most of the people will tell you, "Oh, we don't know what we're doing. We're just doing." But none of us want to kill our fathers.
Yeah.
Just to be clear.
Agreed. But anyway, that's the situation with that one. What would you like? What do you want to make my statement about the glare situation?
Oh, yeah, we have 35 minutes left, so let's use that with this, which I watched.
Okay, I'm gonna just a lot of things have been said. Like, I remember I was watching that video and I heard people make statements that I was condescending to the glare, that I was condescending to this guy. I was not condescending. The guy started off condescending. I mean, like, the guy literally. I mean, I'll show you the first part, because I believe a lot of people.
I don't think you were condescending, but I think you were trying to match his energy.
Yeah.
But you were still being you.
Yeah, like,
Okay,
look, after I was put into about a 25 fucking minute, like, I think it was like, I was there early, I was 12, I'm sharing my screen, by the way.
Sure, Samantha, thank you, I appreciate that.
So, after I was put into about a 20-minute wait, because I came there early, I was like trying to get there. So, after I had to watch about fucking 12 minutes of his BS fucking advertisements from old commercials. And by the way, old commercials for a true crime channel, are we out of your fucking mind? Like,
I wonder why he wears that thing all the time.
Yeah, I don't know why a guy wears a 50-year-old man wears a beanie, but that's just me.
Who am I to judge? I always wear a bandana if I go on camera, like anywhere.
Especially when the beanie's covering his ears, where with like the headphones are supposed to be. Like, you would think that you would want to have the ability to listen.
Yeah,
he does
I just noticed that.
Yeah, you would think that would be the most important thing to do, is to hear the words coming into your ears. But apparently he wants to stop that. I don't know. So this is the energy I came. I'm sitting in the back room. I'm waiting. I'm like 20 minutes waiting for this motherfucker to go live. This is, we got to wait until more people come on. Okay. First, also, I want to point out that this guy said I would not bring him any views. Do we see this? 10,000 people watched his fucking live. So I also want to point that out. I did bring you views, Mr. Glare. I brought you a lot of views. Okay. So just a side note on that one. Yeah, you can share on Discord. I don't mind.
What's happening, people? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, folks.
Does that sound condescending to you when someone does something like that? Pretty condescending. Yeah. But I'm the condescending one. When
he set the tone.
You know what I mean? He didn't set this off like, oh, this is going to be an intellectual debate about the Karen Reed movement or anything like that. And unfortunately, Queen didn't see this part. She didn't air this part because the guy takes like 25 fucking minutes to go live. I don't know how this motherfucker didn't win longest intro in YouTube from the
shout out to Queen B, by the way. Shout out to Queen.
Oh, like, it's not even my birthday. Oh my goodness, dude. Listen, okay. So what I got going on today is a special treat. And listen, me and this dude, we got a little history. We don't like each other.
That's absolutely true. I do not like him. The reason why I do not like the glare, and I'm going to point this out. We're not going through the whole video. I'm just going through the beginning, and I'm going to put my points because we have like 40 minutes max. Okay. The reason why I do not like this guy is because I was cool with this guy. Because originally I did not know about the whole Michael Long stuff and all that stuff. And how he put himself forward was basically this guy who was against families being harassed. You know, I thought he was on our side where he was against families being harassed. He was against people getting fucked with. And, and then he goes on Morbid. And he says his fuck you to the hive and fuck you to all these people. And that pissed me off. And I really did not like that. That got me really annoyed with the guy. But I think I still was kind of like not completely disliking him. I was kind of like, whatever. I'm not going to be fucking with you. But I still like, whatever. Whatever. But that just made me more neutral towards him. Like, I'd be like, well, I'm not going to watch you now. I might watch you once in a while, but I'm not going to be fucking with you, basically. But when the guy basically has the Turtle Boy on, who is doing 10 times worse than Betty's ever has, to the point where that guy got arrested, and you take 180, and then you shame a victim of like a person who got beat up, like who got pushed by Turtle Boy and threatened, then I'm going to not like you, because to me, it seems like you lied to me. You not only lied to me, but you lied to the entire audience. You presented yourself as this guy who was against people fucking with families. And to me, that really pissed me off, because I hate looking like, I don't like looking like an idiot. And I look like a complete fucking moron when I was cool with you and sitting on the panel and liking you. And then I find out that I've been bamboozled. I've been lied to. I've been false advertised by you. And another thing is, I just don't like the fact that you not only lied to me, you lied to everyone else, and then you're harassing these people. I mean, like, it pisses me off. So yes, I'm not going to like that. If you would have just kept to just talking about Karen Reed being innocent and all that stuff, I would have laughed at your theories. But welcome to YouTube. There's a lot of true crime channels that have dog shit opinions on cases, but I don't make videos about them, nor do I call them grifters or assholes or whatnot or tragedy pimps. I usually just ignore them and move on. But yeah, that's the situation.
Denise, just be safe. Enjoy the farm. Hey, Mimi and Melissa too. Just wanted to say hi to y'all. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with you, Melissa. I agree with you, Melissa, that he did have an opinion. He thought it was terrible what Morbid did, and let alone Morbid did not threaten. He did not threaten with a lawyer going after
Morbid.
Morbid
I know.
X, yeah, Morbid.
Yeah,
Morbid.
Okay.
He didn't threaten her. He just said, "Oh, I want you to leave my place. I'll pay for your apartment." She's crying. Not a great scene. I wouldn't put it on a live stream, obviously, but the guy wasn't being like fucking horrible in comparison to Turtle Boy, but he takes like 180 views. So I got very annoyed. So yes, that's why I do not like him.
There's
So if the guy suddenly, stopped being delusional and stopped fucking simping for Turtle Boy and started doing the right thing, I'd probably go back to neutral, if you catch my drift.
No doubt about that. But listen, I want to be very clear about something. I will extend him the amount of respect deserved for at the very least, having the...
Oh, look, Cherry writes, B-Twat is finally on. That shows a lot. This is his girl. That's his girlfriend, by the way.
That's his girlfriend. That's your girlfriend. That's nice to have a girlfriend that supports you. And
I love how that just sets the tone for a true crime debate.
Right.
To call me a twat on the first 10 seconds about telling me how much you're going to give me the respect. By the way, the reason why I bailed out towards the end is because we're not going to do this towards the end. Because the motherfucker agreed to me on Queen Bee that he would not do his usual bullshit. What does he do? He curses me out and then plays Jeopardy music when I'm trying to look for paperwork.
Condescending. He's being a dick.
And I'm being condescending. Okay.
Yeah.
The testicular fortitude, the cajones to come.
Bro, just say balls. Like, just say he has the balls
Just
to come
say
on.
Balls, dude. Just say balls.
Fucking swear to
Come
God.
up here.
Hate that so much.
And talk to me about a case that we absolutely, totally disagree on. Because anybody else who I talk about, and I don't talk about him much,
speeded him up
honestly,
because he's such a blowhard.
Anybody
Yeah, I have to speed him up because he talks way too much.
else who I talk about as far as what their opinions are on a case, if they absolutely, I usually challenge them if I review them. I challenge them to come up here.
Right,
and
Samantha?
Nobody ever has the stones to do it. So there's some respect here for B. Tim.
Never lied about you, Chronicles. Actually, you mostly lied about me, by the way.
For doing this, he is backstage. Now Queen Bee is streaming this. If you guys don't know this guy, his name's B. Tim. And I think he has a channel. I don't know if he has a channel.
That he knows absolutely nothing. Well, I proved that wrong. I proved he knew nothing. He didn't even know the kids were interviewed.
Right.
I just kind of laughed because all these people had their thoughts that I was going to get destroyed and it turned out the opposite.
But I know that he panels a lot with Queen Bee, someone else who her and I we've never really seen eye to eye at all.
Beatim is a slim ball that curls up with any comic creator that will have him. He is nothing in real true crime community. Well, I disproved that. I knew more than the glare.
And, he panels with her quite a bit.
I mean, that's true.
And they dabble in a different type of content that we try to do here.
Yeah, open panel discussions.
I have listened to some things that B. Tim has said as far as his opinions on this case. I've listened to those.
Look at it. I'm looking at the chat.
Now, I want to be very clear about
videos.
This is not, I know I labeled this a debate only because like it's probably, I mean, chances are it's going to end up happening. But since we disagree on this case, very, very, like I said, fundamentally disagree. We absolutely disagree.
Agreed.
This case means a lot to me. This case is very, very.
Wait, hold on a second. I'm reading the comments, and one comment was like, "Who would call themselves B. Tim? Who would use their real who would use their real fucking name on YouTube and be involved in this, idiot? Never use your real name."
Yeah, never use your real name, and obviously Tim's a fake name. Sorry to tell you. It was something I randomly typed up one day. Do I regret that I could have thought of a better name? I mean, to be known on YouTube as B. Tim is probably, I didn't think like thousands of people would know my name. I thought it would just be like a YouTube thing where I was just like, oh, I'm just watching videos on YouTube. It was just a random shit. But anywho, probably would have picked like something better. Maybe like Romulus or Remus or something like that, or something cool, but whatever.
Wasn't B. Tim part of the Mighty Pout?
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I normally only cover cases a lot. One particular case a lot if I'm passionate about that case. And in this case,
I don't like this
I've become very passionate about. And a lot of
He's
it
really passionate about it, guys.
Is how much it's affected the people locally in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So and those of you who watch the channel a lot, you guys know how I feel about it and what we've talked about, and we've watched in real time these.
Imagine sitting in the back chat waiting for this motherfucker to just hit the fucking join button. But I gotta wait and listen to this bullshit fucking spiel about how passionate about this case is. Meanwhile, this motherfucker was literally hand-fed his lines by Sleuthy Goosey and a bunch of other content creators. Sleuthy Goosey even created a timeline of events that we were working off of and documents. And this motherfucker is so lazy, he didn't even bother reading the documents or even creating notes. This motherfucker just sat there, worked out in the gym, and came live after he. And by the way, he smokes way too much. He smoked like literally a carton of fucking cigarettes and drank 2 pots of coffee while I was up there.
Oh,
you know what
he
I had?
smokes more than me.
Yeah, on this live alone, it sounded like he smoked
crazy.
like 2 packs of cigarettes. And I'm just drinking like a soda. I'm just relaxing, a probiotic soda. I'm just chilling.
You seemed very chill. I think it's because I've known you for so long, but you didn't seem condescending. You seemed chilled.
Things unfold.
You seemed aggravated though, because he wasn't getting it. That's why.
No, it wasn't that he wasn't getting it. It was the fact that in the beginning he set the tone. I asked him, "What do you believe?" And he said, "Well, you'll listen to it."
And covered them pretty thoroughly about a pissing contest with B. Tim, using my platform to try to control to some degree misinformation being spread on something that I feel very passionate about. Knows more about the case or anything of that nature. This is more about discussing what we disagree on. I will show receipts on something that I disagree with, and if disadvantage that anything of that nature. I did.
By the way, he showed no receipts. The man literally just sat there and just fucking made up shit and just did not really talk about nothing. He did. I mean, when I talked to him and I says, how do you base your opinion on it? It's like, I expect reasonable doubt. I'm like, we're not in a courtroom, sir, and you're not a lawyer, nor am I. Can we just talk about like the documents we were supplied with and base our opinions based on the true crime?
Did send him through Queen Bee. I sent him the link to in this case. So he's free to reference them. I'll probably reference them. Very disagreeing.
Oh my God, it goes on forever.
Look at this. Like,
that's my intention. But without everybody.
Finally.
So what do you want to get into? You want to get into like talking about what you believe is the case? What do you believe?
How you feeling though? Are you comfortable?
No, is that condescending?
Are you comfortable? Because I'm a pretty, Tim, are you comfortable? Because
you
I'm
comfortable?
I'm pretty popular guy. I'm pretty amazing. I'm adorable too. But are you comfortable? Am I
you
intimidating
comfortable?
you?
Do you want to
Because
like have a cup of
yeah,
coffee? It's like, bro, are you gonna Uber me it? I mean, like, what's the point of that fucking shit? I'm
yeah.
not at your house. You're
He
not
acts
offering
like
me
you're a
tea.
guest.
You're not offering me tea and fucking crumpets. Why the
Yeah,
fuck are you bringing this up? And that's just to be a condescending prick.
You got
yeah.
something to drink, some coffee or water or anything like that?
I'm fine.
Okay, good.
So I guess the concept is maybe you can give me your position. We both our positions on the subject. So what's your position?
My position is that I believe Karen Reed to be innocent. But overall, my overall position is that if this were to go to trial, which I don't believe that it will, but if it were to go to trial, I don't think there is any jury on the planet that would ever convict Karen Reed based on how this investigation was conducted. So yes, Luthi, I did send him the spreadsheet. He has it. You have it, right?
Yeah, I do. Continue.
No, that's it. I mean,
That's it. That is it. And I sat there when I heard that, and I was like, what? Like, bro, you have sat on panel after panel talking about a conspiracy in which fuckers have. This was his theory, right? By the way, I'm going to tell you his theory because he can't have the statistical fortitude to say his motherfucking opinion. But because he doesn't want to have the balls to just state it out there that he's a conspiracy channel. But this is what happens. He believes that John O'Keefe was lured there because Cullen had some sort of argument with him months prior on his, on the property, and that he was lured there. And then when he got there, he was lured to the basement where the dog was, bitten by the dog, and beat up by Cullen and Brian. And then they all decided to just hang around a little bit. And then basically, some people went home, some didn't. Jennifer McCabe went home, and while she was home, she was Googling how long it would take to freeze to death. That's their belief. And basically, I guess they think that Cullen was still lied about going home, and then he brought his car over, or someone brought their car over. They stuck him in the car. They drove him to the front of the house at 2 o'clock, 2:30, dumped him in the front of the house, and then they all went back their little business doing their thing. And then basically Karen Reed, they framed when they basically fed her lines to basically be framed to claim that that she hit him and everything like that. Yeah. And that Proctor is a family friend, and he's literally will lie, and he will do anything for this group of people in the house, the 10 people that don't change their stories and have the exact same story. They made their little story. Proctor is working with them. Then they get the accident reconstruction people to work with them. Then they get the emergency people, the emergency service people to work with them. Then they get the DA's office, all to frame Karen Reed to cover up the fact that a 17-year-old kid beat him up for a beef. So that's why I was like, what? And then this is what he's been basically pushing. On every panel he jumps on, he pushes this with his group of people. But instead, he changes his tune to reasonable doubt, guys, reasonable doubt. I don't believe this will be going to trial. And I believe she'll be innocent because of reasonable doubt. Well, no, sir, you did not put that as you're presenting your arguments towards me previously. And then you hear him start proclaiming that little theory a little bit, but he's too afraid to actually state that. And that's the problem I have with him. Are we playing Clue Comical Mustard to do the basement with Billy Club? Yeah, I mean, the guy it just doesn't want to present his actual theory. And his actual theory was that was his theory. And the whole thing about admissibility, well, admissibility, I would never go into a debate about admissibility with a non-lawyer, nor would I ever go with a lawyer, because I am not a lawyer, he's not a lawyer. Admissibility at trial goes to basis of attorneys. 2 attorneys can decide what is admissible and what not admissible. 2 idiots off the internet are not going to be able to discuss what is admissible and what is not admissible, because number one, neither of us, which I outlined in this discussion or debate, neither of us know about police procedure on collection of evidence. We do not know. Maybe the Glare should know, since he's been doing true crime for 5 years. I don't know. And for Boston, I would perfectly admit that I do not know the evidence collection procedure in Boston. That is something I will fully admit I am ignorant of. Maybe I'll educate myself later on, but I was fully ignorant of that particular situation. And he doesn't want to admit it, but then he's claiming the evidence is collected improperly. not realizing he makes himself look like a fucking idiot when he presents himself with that particular fact. Because if you don't know what the proper evidence collection method is, how the fuck would you know that they improperly collected evidence?
Well, that's the thing too. There's no proof. He has no facts backing up his theories. Well, they're theories, yeah.
But he doesn't realize that he fell into a logical trap with that thought process when he said, you don't know the procedure. All he's like, well, they got the red cups and they collected the blood. And it's like, well, how do you know that was not appropriate? Who told you that? What documents told you that was inappropriate? And then he's like, Kaffendorfer told me that. Well, how do you know? Well, you have Kaffendorfer with a red nose on her thing, and you say she's a clown, and she gives false information, and she's a conspiracy person. So basing your theory about on things based on someone you call a clown is not really good footing for your argument, sir.
Exactly.
That's it. And Turtle Boy is in jail because he's being railroaded in silence.
Well, do you want to debate about one case or two cases? Because I thought we were talking about Karen Reed. If you want to,
they're connected.
I don't see them connected. They're not connected because one is murder and one is witness intimidation. I mean, you might connect the witness intimidation part to it, but who knows?
Might be two separate cases.
Well, that's why you're here, so we can discuss that, and I can explain how they're connected.
You can believe Karen Reed's innocent and believe Turtle Boy's guilty. In your opinion, they're two separate cases. Yeah,
sure you can.
So why are you combining the two?
Okay, we're getting into semantics here. I'm explaining because I can't actually show you why Turtle Boy's case is absolutely connected to the Karen Reed case. I mean, how could you say that they're not?
Now that person says I'm a bit snappy. Yeah, because in a debate, you're not supposed to bring up subjects that you did not agree upon with a debate. Like, imagine if me and Tony were debating on, like, let's say a new video game. Me and Tony were like, I think Pal Worlds is a bootleg version of Pokemon. And he says, no, I don't think so. And we come here, we get our notes ready, we get our documents ready. And then I suddenly say, we're going to discuss Diablo 4.
Boo.
And how it's filled with micro. I'm using a gaming reference for Tony's sake.
Yeah.
Then you would look at me like, what the fuck? I just spent hours preparing notes for this goddamn debate, and you're changing the subject. If you want me to look into witness intimidation, you should have told me that 24 hours ago, and I would have probably pulled up the motherfucking notes. That's why I was getting annoyed.
In the latest developments, where it was Ken Mello, the special prosecutor assigned to Turtle Boy, not Karen Reed, who managed to seize Karen Reed's phones.
Yeah, because there's investigation.
So they're not connected?
Their investigation of this collusion.
Okay.
So let's talk about Karen Reed's case because that's a pretext I was thinking
So if there's investigation that there's collusion, you would have to logically agree that they are connected, yes or no?
No, there's collusion on whether witness intimidation is going on. That's a separate job.
Yeah, see, like if there was collusion, and that thought process goes beyond his head because probably the earphone, like the beanie is blocking his hearing, right, Tony? Probably blocking his hearing.
And it's almost blocking his eyes too.
Yeah, it's almost blocking his eyes. He's only paying attention to chat, not listening to me. Okay, collusion. If it was collusion to cover up a murder or collusion to murder, then they would be connected. But if it's collusion of witness intimidation, that is a separate charge, sir. That would be a separate case. They're two separate cases. One is murder. One is intimidating witnesses. Two different discussion points. Okay. Karen Reed, I'll give you an example. So maybe the Glare will watch this one day, or maybe not. I don't know. I don't give a fuck if he does. But for instance, if Karen Reed is considered innocent of the crime of murder, right? She would still be charged with witness intimidation if they have charges because they're two separate charges. Just like, let's say you go to jail, you're innocent, right? And you attempt an escape from jail, and they find out you're innocent. You didn't murder that guy. You would still serve time in jail for your attempt to escape from jail. But this is too far away. This is like too much critical thinking for the Glare to understand how things are separated in separate arguments. And it's like his brain is melting because he's in this conspiracy mindset that everything is part of the conspiracy. Instead of saying to himself, well, maybe Karen Reed was feeding this motherfucker information so that she can intimidate people because she wants to fucking not go to jail. And he wants YouTube views, and his arrogance thought he was untouchable, and he was proved wrong.
For murder,
which make witness intimidation for what case then?
For her case, for a murder case,
or
separate.
The Karen Reed case, right?
I don't think
so
Turtle
they
Boy
are
had
connected.
I don't think Turtle Boy had anything to do with the murder of John O'Keefe.
Of course, nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying that. We're talking about the prosecution. We're talking about the investigation and the investigators that are involved in both cases. We're talking about the same district attorney that are involved in both cases. They are connected. I mean, they're absolutely connected.
Are we going to get into the Karen Reed discussion? Or are we going to just?
We are.
Well, not really, because we're talking about what the evidence.
You said they weren't connected, and I just explained how they were.
Well, that's your opinion, but I don't believe that. So we can disagree.
It's not a matter of opinion. If the special prosecutor who's assigned to the Turtle Boy case is seizing Karen Reed's phones because she believes that they are colluding in order to intimidate witnesses, then the cases are absolutely connected.
Yes, it would be considered a murder because she hit him with the back of the car. Duh. Okay, I'm not agreeing with you because I believe in.
Yeah, he's grasping.
Yeah, I'm still only at the beginning. Yeah, I'm just laughing.
By those two things.
They're separate charges.
Of course they're separate charges.
Yes.
We know they're separate charges.
So they're not.
Karen Reed has separate charges in the same case. Of course.
But anyway, my positions. Let's go move on to the Karen Reed thing because that was what we were here to discuss. Thank you.
Why do you think that she is guilty?
I think she's guilty based upon the evidence. I think she's guilty based upon the Green report. I think she's guilty based upon the fact there was glass fiber found on the back of the bumper. I believe she's guilty because there's microscopic plastic that was found on his cloth. I believe she's guilty based upon the ways that basically disproves the Apple Health data that actually with the Green report. I believe she's guilty based upon.
What exactly disproves the Apple Health data?
Well, according to Waze, according to the Waze, it says that she, according to Waze, they basically at 12:20 from Dedham Street, they arrived at 34 Fairview at 12:24, and it's a mile and a half. Meanwhile, if you look at the Apple data, it says 12:21:14 to 12:24:37 that they ascended and descended flights. That's not possible if they're punching into Waze at Dedham at 12:20.
Waze sucks in my area. Well, sir, it works off your GPS. And so does your Apple Health data works off of your GPS. How do you think how do you think it connects to your device, you dumbass?
Okay. Give me 1 second here.
Yeah, sure. And that's at the Green report. I got it from basically Yellow Cabin Tails. He basically went through the report and the Waze.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, another thing that we should point out is that this guy, the Glare, trolls Yellow Apple Tails. Yellow Cabin Tails. He trolls them in the chat all the time. So he knows about the Waze. He knows about this because he saw it. So he's willfully ignorant of the Waze. He knows about Waze. And basically, when he punched in that time at like 12:20, he was still in the car. And if you look at the steps, what's going to be explained, while I was recording the steps, going up the 3 flights of stairs, he was still in the car. So how does he, that's going to be kind of hard for the prosecution to explain. Cottage, thank you. Cottage Tail, I messed that up. I don't understand how he doesn't think they are separate cases. TB charges are nothing to do with Karen case just because he's trying to Robin Hood for, it's just so stupid. Like, so stupid. And it's like I can show you. Like, let me see. Okay, let me see. Yellow Cabin Tails. Let me see. I gotta see. Where is that video? Tony's like, man, what's this?
No, do your thing. You know me. Y'all know me who, regular watchers. I don't really get involved, but I do like to watch. But I do like to watch and support. And I did watch this, and he was condescending. And he kept on looking down. I guess he was looking at his phone. And I don't think he was on the same.
Oh, he was getting fed. He was getting fed lines left and right. He was fed.
Yeah.
At one point, this motherfucker pulls up an interview with some rando, says he's a tow truck driver that said he didn't see any damage. Yeah. I'm like, why is this guy not being brought to the defense?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, so stupid. I sat there. I was like shocked when he brought that up. I was like, sir, this would be something the defense would most likely 100% of the time bring up.
Hey, Little Boston, I cannot pronounce the first of your name, so I'm just going to call you Little Boston. Represent Boston.
Represent Boston, right? I'll do the
right.
Excellent. And
Boston.
Boston. I'll go back to share screen again. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Doing it now. You're all set.
Okay. So,
basically, he was in the car at the time, so most likely he was going slow enough that it was like not that fast, and it was recording as like a walking thing. That's one of the reasons why I believe that.
Okay.
That's all.
So Waze is not as reliable as Apple Health data. Rick Green is a forensic expert, if you're claiming. Sir, how do you think they know your GPS location to give you directions, dumbass?
Are you going to explain about the microscopic plastic on his clothes as well?
Well, yeah.
Okay, how did that happen?
Who knows?
Why is beats him not on camera? Because you people are psychos and you try to dox people.
Yeah.
Question of
obviously.
Well, you're not going to
chain of custody of evidence. So when the victim's clothes are just laid out on the floor in the emergency room where they're trying to revive him,
you notice he did not go into that point about the location.
Mm-hmm.
He just skipped that.
like while they were driving, and now he's talking about how the clothes were left in the emergency room. Tell me, sir, how did they get the microscopic plastic under the throw up in blood?
Hey, Mythical. Hey, Skip.
Anything could have
He's
happened.
crazy.
Do you believe Proctor went into the emergency room and sprinkled microscopic plastic on his clothes?
I'm saying who knows. I'm saying that if I were a defense.
So what do you think of that? Was that a great rebuttal to my thing? Who
When
knows?
somebody, well, that's what I was about to say. When somebody says, well, who knows, but let's
Who
talk
knows?
yeah, let's just wait and then we'll know.
Who knows? I mean, who knows?
Who knows, but I'm right and you're
Attorney.
wrong.
And well, if it's
And no one criticizes that when he says who knows.
defense attorney were to
Yeah.
explain this to me and I were sitting on a jury, then I would say that that would create doubt. Because if the chain of custody is mishandled, if the evidence is mishandled, which it clearly was, then anything could have happened to that evidence.
Can you explain
meaning
how
things closed.
was chain of custody mishandled?
Well, that's the thing. It wasn't bagged. It was just thrown on the floor. There were items of his.
Well, maybe because the guy was dying and they just decided to cut his clothes off too quickly to try to save his life. I mean, he wasn't dead at the time. They were trying to save the man's life from hypothermia. He was dying. So maybe they cut off his clothes quickly to try to save his life. Just a thought.
Clothing that are missing.
So
that
think
when you look at the photograph, the still.
No, he doesn't explain to me what clothes are missing. He says, "Where's the belt?" I don't know where they got this information of the belt from because I've never even heard of the belt. I think someone saw videos and think like he's wearing a belt, and they're like, "Where's the belt? Where's the belt?" Which, by the way, I would have to look at the videos again, but I mean, like, whatever. I mean, that does not prove that some sort of conspiracy occurred.
The footage inside the bar at the Waterfall Grill.
Okay.
You can see that he's wearing a belt.
Okay.
One of his shoes is missing.
Well, his shoe was recovered. His shoe. And it says, listen to that. One of his shoes are missing. It wasn't. It was recovered. Listen to that. This is the guy who's passionate about this case, right?
I know.
Okay.
You can see that he's wearing a belt.
Okay.
One of his shoes is missing. His
Well,
hat
his
is
shoe was
missing.
recovered. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I don't think he knows what I think in his head he believes that he's right, but nothing is like it's like word diarrhea.
One of
like
the
it's
shoes
just-
were off his foot. And
yeah.
it was recovered later because it snowed. And this guy's like, well, they use a snow blower to get rid of the snow and that. Yeah, what the fuck else are they gonna do? That's why I joked about the flamethrower. That was a joke, by the way. I didn't think they were gonna actually get a flamethrower and burn through his yard. But the problem is that you can do what you got to do. You shovel, you blow snow, you try to get the evidence, and sometimes you miss shit because it's under snow. And sometimes you wait until it melts and you find more shit. Okay, that happens.
Especially up here in Boston. Like
and he talks
you got to work with the conditions, yeah.
He talks about how it wasn't fenced off, like there wasn't tape around the place or whatnot. I believe the streets, and someone pointed this out to me, I believe the streets are blocked off. So the block. So like this, and there was like dozens of cops around. So like there wasn't just someone just walking through the crime scene that was like a civilian. I didn't see that. I saw police officers with shovels attempting to recover evidence. His shoe and hat was recovered at the scene with a black straw and broken glass on the side at the scene.
Oh, the belt and hoodie. Excuse me, the belt and hoodie.
Yeah, well, I don't know about the belt. I know that the hat and the other shoe fell off because the hoodie could have been left in the car with Karen Reed, who drove him there. He was hit by the car. That's a common thing with being hit by a car. And why would a black straw be placed there as well at the scene? There was a black straw, a broken glass, frozen cocktail glass, a hat, and one of his shoes was missing, found by another officer at the scene. A couple of days, I think a couple hours later.
Right. So what?
And it's like, I hate to hear the other side. I can't deal with idiots that won't even hear the other side. I listened to his other side. He believes that there's reasonable doubt, and he hasn't pointed out what the reasonable doubt is. All he's saying is, well, I don't know. Someone could have went there with plastic sprinkles and sprinkled it, plastic particles and sprinkled it. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Santa Claus exists because I've never been to the North Pole. I don't know.
There's a lot of I don't knows.
I mean,
that doesn't really help your debate.
I don't know if like Bigfoot lives in the woods because I've never been there. I don't know. I mean, like you can't use that as a discussion in a rebuttal in a debate. That is a ridiculous rebuttal. You would have to outline, for instance, let's say he wanted to rebut me that. He could have stated, well, Proctor or so-and-so had this time and this opportunity to do that. He could have went to the hospital and he was in the area at the time, right?
or he had the timeline of events of Proctor or the timeline of events of this officer gave him the opportunity to be around the body and be around the clothes and be around these plastic particles, and he would outline that event to me to try to paint a picture to me of what he believes. But all he presented to me was, I don't know, it could happen. Well, that doesn't work, mister. If you're dealing with facts or even theories, that doesn't work. You didn't present your case good at all. You would have presented a timeline of events that would have given opportunity for the clothes to have been sprinkled with plastic. I don't know how. And then you would explain the science to me about how that could have happened. You could have pulled up an article and said, hey, this article explains how, microscopic plastics works on embedding on the clothes, because I'm really passionate about this case and I really researched this because I don't want to look like a fucking idiot on YouTube. But he didn't. He did not. He did not, guys. He had no clue what he was talking. Judges have been saying, I know the sky is blue, but that doesn't matter in here until you prove it to me. Yeah, exactly. And that's like, and then Stitching says, paramedics cut my shirt off. Once I was so pissed, I was like, what are you doing? Yeah, it's just so stupid.
Why wasn't the scene secured immediately?
Well, first they were investigating if it was an accident. And
see, another whatism. Why is the scene not, does there have to be a conspiracy, or could it just be incompetence? Could it be just someone fucked up with that? Like, there is a big difference between incompetence and conspiracy. Someone fucking up because they're incompetent is not a conspiracy. Now, if you want to say, well, they fucked up this case because they were incompetent in collecting evidence and it might be thrown out in trial, well, that would not be a discussion I would have with the Glare, nor the Glare should have with anyone, because he is not a lawyer, nor am I. If you want to talk about admissibility at trial, you talk to a lawyer. You go to the lawyer you want to know. Like, am I right, Tony? Would you talk about admissibility at trial?
No, lawyer.
Duh.
Did I? Oh, I thought I lost you. I was like, oh no. Yeah, no. Go through the steps. But the thing is, too, the things that he's saying, which is getting to me, is that his people actually believe, and that just makes things worse.
Yeah, and it's like,
then they basically.
So I present facts. I present the Green report. I present that he misstates that there is a shoe that never was recovered, and it's like they don't call him out on that, but they're so very much like very common for shoes to come off. See, Dreamboat knew, and no one calls him out on the fact that he didn't even know that the shoe was recovered.
Yeah,
this shows the bias of their side. This shows the bias of their side to just basically choose their guy and just believe anything they say. They don't say to themselves, wow, the Glare got that wrong. Why is the Glare not, like, he's been on this case, talking about this case basically for like 3 months, reads these reports, says he's passionate about it, he believes Karen Reed's innocent, and he doesn't know that fucking essential fact. Believe me, that would be a big argument point to me if they never recovered the shoe.
Was that then he went to that investigation? What's the problem?
Like, I can believe a belt was taken off before they went to got out of the car. I can believe a sweater was taken off before he went into out of the car. But I wouldn't believe the guy removed one of his shoes to walk into the snow. So that would be a big point to his argument if that was actually a fact. But it isn't a fact because he uses no common sense. Because he never thought about it as a debate.
It was secured.
Well, no,
I think another team wasn't the evidence collected by a special team. I think they collected the evidence. A CERT team
that didn't show up until the next day.
It says located in the morning. The Massachusetts.
Wrong. It wasn't the next day. They took over the case around a couple hours later once he was presumed dead. Actually, that's the fact. I have to look it up again, but it was the same day. It wasn't the next day. Another team took it over because they knew they had a suspicion that the man might not make it, so they had to have another team take over. And also, the CERT team did recover the evidence. Let me see. I hear him. Let me see. Runs it out. Officers found it. Let me see. No known crime existed yet. Just an individual found down in the snow. Yeah.
Special Emergency Response Team CERT also found pieces of plastic, 2 red and 1 clear, in the same vicinity at the body. Items consistent with the broken tail light red on Reed's Lexus. This document noted that officials seized the car and found that it had
found that they 5 days later. Well, welcome to car accidents, ma'am. People find shit later all the time. Sometimes people get hit by trains and they find things days later. It happens all the time.
Broken glass embedded in the rear bumper. a deep scratch and a dent on the right side of the rear tailgate, and 2 scratches plus some chips.
See, someone corrected him. No, at the 5:45, same day. See, he's wrong again. His own chat's correcting him.
Even the look on his face, he's kind of like, oh, I fucked up.
See,
in my opinion.
Another person corrected him. So this is a guy, this is my problem. I come in there. This is not my case. I am not a YouTuber. I am a panel guest. I jump from case to case, read information. I do not know the intricate details of every single case because I'm an open panel discussion person. I read the documents. I have a I have a good understanding of it, but it's not something I'm going to know like that. Exactly. And I took an interest in the Karen Reed case because I saw how people were reacting, talking about a conspiracy. And I thought that was interesting because I'm always into the disproving kind of BS conspiracies. You know, I did it with the Kylie Rodney thing. I did it with the Dylan Rounds situation. It's something it's kind of like a hobby at this point where I disprove bullshit, true crime conspiracies. So I did it this way. And also I hear about Turtle Boy. So I start getting into it, but I'm not passionate about it. I have a job. I read a couple of documents. I listen to a couple of live streams. It's not my livelihood. This is this motherfucker's livelihood. That's like you going to a repair shop and the customer knowing how to repair the car better than you. And you were a mechanic for like 20 years. This should not happen. He should know this.
Hey, Montana.
Hi, Montana. Am I like going over, am I like overreacting here or what?
No. The thing is, though, he should know the facts better than you, and it's the tables are turned.
Yeah, he should know this case fucking back and front.
Inside out, yeah.
He should have notes written down in the timeline of events. He should have notes written down on his theories. He should have page numbers listed for his quotes that he can use to present his evidence. But he does none of these things because he is a puppet. He just repeats shit that is told to him by smarter people who are also misinformed. Dietz, you're misinformed about this case, by the way. Sleuthy, I disagree with your theory, but I respect you. You actually do research. I mean, you're a smart person. I'll give Sleuthy Goosey a lot of credit. She's a very smart person. She puts down her case, so I'm going to give her a lot more credit than a lot of people. She at least reads the document, so I respect that. She knows what she's talking about, and I disagree with her theory, but I respect the research, and I respect her knowledge of the case. I really do, and I respect people that do research. I really do. But, he's wrong again.
On the right side of the rear bumper. And it was a CERT team, the emergency response team. Massachusetts Special Emergency Response Team. And that's what I'm just saying. There's other, you have to think about it too. There's other things
actually his hat was recovered on February 3rd. Which is 5 days after the morning of the incident.
Okay.
So his
let me write that down.
February 3rd.
Thank you. I'm writing down February 3rd.
And it was when they went to interview.
Patty, are you fucking large, like a Laura alt or something? Why would you want to see my face? Jesus Christ, people.
Nicole Albert.
So it was still recovered at the scene.
Right.
Okay. Right. Still recovered at the scene. Yeah. Right.
But why wasn't it recovered the day of?
Well, why is the mood not made of cheese? I don't know. Maybe because they didn't find it because there was snow outside and it takes time to look for shit through snow.
Exactly.
Why am I not a multimillionaire? Why can't I fly? Why do pigs don't fly? I don't know. I mean, fucking Christ, man. The stupidity of this guy is boom. She is very good, B. Tim. Sleuthy is Goosey, same. She really doesn't listen to rumors, only. I mean, she doesn't listen to rumors. She always bases her facts on paperwork. I would give you that 100%. But I think she sometimes will push conspiracy theory, conspiracy theories a little bit. And that's my disagreement with her. But she does do research and she does work on documents. And I will give her 100% credit for that.
Because it snowed.
She's not a mouthpiece like this guy who doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. She can come up here and have an intelligent conversation where she talks about documents and she sounds like she actually read them.
She's somebody you can have a debate.
That's how you preserve and investigate a crime scene is you just wait for snow to melt.
Well, you don't see everything. You think they have a flamethrower to melt all the snow in the backyard? I mean,
no, actually they used a snowblower.
Wow, they used a snowblower to blow
the one
snow?
Thing. Do you notice the one thing
he's smiling about?
He's smiling about is that because that's the only thing that he's gotten correct.
Yeah, it's yes, they're going to use
tiny victory
snowblower
to get rid of snow. Either that, they're going to have to use a shovel to get rid of snow, unless you
Really?
invented.
This whole entire time, I was just looking at it and hoping it would go away. Like, I didn't really a shovel. Where do I get one? I'm gonna go on Amazon.
And then they're going to complain that like the shoveling or snow blowing was going to disturb the evidence scene. So either we wait for it to. That's my point when I said that. By the way, my point was either you're going to wait for it to melt the snow, or you're probably going to have to remove shit from the scene with a shovel.
I wonder how Boston. See, I live here and I don't know. I'm gonna look it up. I wonder if Boston, if a crime happens in the wintertime in the snow, do they wait for the ground to settle and melt, or do they actually physically? Because I don't think that would happen.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look it
I
up.
think that's standard for an investigation.
I mean, they looked for it and they found it. What are you talking about? Eventually, have to wait for snow to smelt. Yeah.
5 days later.
How about the black straw and the other shoe being missing? That's consistent with the.
So you don't find this to be? Oh, hold on.
See how he doesn't want to actually talk about an open, and this is when you know someone has an agenda. When a person doesn't want to actually talk about the facts of the case, like the straw and the shoe being off the guy, and explaining that to me, because if he was having an open discussion about desiring all the facts of the case.
I'm reading. I'm listening to you, but I literally looked it up.
Yeah, I mean, like, and it's like they didn't find the hat. Well, okay. I mean, like,
because my issue. Now,
okay, do motherfuckers take off their hat before they go out in the snow? Maybe, I don't know.
My issue is how the investigation was conducted. Okay.
Okay. You believe chain of custody was broken. That's what your basis of your opinion.
I'm not saying that it's. I never said that it was broken.
He never said the chain of custody was broken. Well, you're stating the chain of custody was broken. Your chat was stating the chain of custody was broken earlier. Am I like delusional? But did he not say chain of custody earlier?
He said chain of custody.
He said chain of custody, and I repeat, I'm just trying to get him to get to something because he's being like a little worm.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to actually stick to a point.
I said that the evidence was mishandled.
And it says the hat was in the backyard. Wrong again. Teats. You're wrong again. Let me see. Found a clear glass. Okay. But not a hat. Okay. Wrong. And how was it mishandled?
Because it wasn't, because items of his clothing weren't recovered until 5 days after the actual incident. So that makes me question. That makes me question the integrity of the investigation altogether. That's just a drop in the bucket of the things that make me question the integrity of the investigation.
I don't want to. I'm asking this question so you can deny what my question is. Do you believe that officers came and grabbed his clothes, embedded plastic, and then other pieces of clothes and went back to the scene and buried it in the snow?
I'm saying if I were a juror and a defense attorney presented that and explained.
Why is B. Tim's being smug? Well, maybe because this guy's laughing and acting like an asshole.
How do they know you're being smug? Is the question. I don't hear it. But maybe because I've known you.
To me that it wasn't recovered until 5 days later, then I would have to doubt that it was recovered in a timely fashion. I would have to doubt. I would have to say that there could have been anything. There's 5 days for this for these pieces of evidence to be tainted in some way, shape.
I mean, the black straw, the broken cocktail glass, the shoe, the phone, all there.
Right. All recovered late. All recovered way later.
Yeah, it's why investigation.
Why would Michael Proctor not log 5 different searches?
Well, thank you, Remy, for giving me credit at least. Because
5 different searches. Hold on. Why would Michael Proctor know? Michael Proctor found these pieces of taillight, some 32 pieces.
We're going to find out why the FBI was stated to go there due to the recent warrant for Karen Reed's phones. We're going to find out about the tipster on that one.
34 pieces of taillight. He found them on 5 separate occasions and undocumented searches.
They found more pieces when the snow melted.
What
other officers?
So is that standard? Do you think that that's standard? That
are you a cop
to investigate? No, but I follow enough cases.
I'm not a cop.
I follow enough cases.
How many years have you been following cases?
At least 5.
Okay, so when you do 20 years, come to me.
So you explained.
When you do 20 years, come to me. Just like some of those officers.
To me, you explain to me any other case. Reference any other case where the police waited for snow to melt in investigating the death of a Boston police officer or any police officer anywhere. You explain to me.
Can you reference a case?
No.
Why? See what I mean? Like he asks a question he doesn't have an answer to. And it's like, why would you ask a question that you don't have an answer to just to sound fucking smart? It's like, no, sir, you outline your stupidity. Like a thing you learn, let's say lawyers learn in the beginning, is never ask a question you don't have the answer to. And Number one, there could have been a scenario that they did that, but he never did any research to that effect. Asking me to reference a case like that
because you're acting like it's standard operating procedure.
You don't know what what is standard operation procedure for an investigation like this? Tell me.
Well, I mean, I would have to have a police officer up here to
see.
He's just going off of his own thought process, and it's just not there. It's not clicking with the facts. And everybody in his chat believes him.
Not everyone. There's some people from the
well, there's some. Yeah, I mean, well, you know what I mean. Like his people believe him, and that's a big number of people to believe a lie.
Yeah. By the way, Chronicles, you show your bias, and it's weird that you call me Timmy. Like, okay, bro.
That's weird. That's weird. That's like no.
Chronicles, you're kind of a weirdo. Thank you. So why are you sitting here saying you don't understand? Like this is not standard operation procedure when you don't know?
Because it's fucking plain and simple.
But how is it plain and simple if you don't know? That's like tell me. I mean, like, you're good. Are you used to fix cars or something like that, Tony? What did you used to do?
Who, me?
Mm-hmm.
I was a mechanic.
Okay, that's like me saying, commenting on how to repair a car, and then I say, I don't know. I just plain and simple. How do you?
I would kick you.
Plain and simple.
So I would kick you out of the garage and say, "Fuck you! I'm going to do my job because I know what I'm doing." I don't understand why he's. I don't understand his logic. I'm trying to wrap around
it. Yeah.
There's no investigation where that has ever happened.
If you're for truth and truth, if you want truth, why don't you invite a Boston police officer or retired one to do an interview and discuss?
Doesn't have to be a Boston. Doesn't have to.
And by the way, he did follow my advice later on, but he followed my advice in getting some sort of guy who was on Young Jerks or something who believed that based upon his eyeballs, he saw like the taillight was still there based on this grainy picture. Meanwhile, if you compare pictures to the actual taillight removed, it actually supports the position the taillight wasn't there at the time. But the guy is so biased, the guy he invited. He didn't invite like some like guy that was neutral, maybe, to discuss the procedure of evidence collection.
Was it Boston police?
I think he was just a retired police officer. I don't even know if he was a Boston police officer, but he was on Young Jerks, and I seen that, and he just speculation himself. So he invited a guy just to speculate. He didn't invite him just to talk about procedure, but he eventually did follow my advice. 4 days later after this, I'm glad he did. At least he listened to something I said.
You're welcome for the content.
Yeah, you're welcome for your idea. Welcome for the views that you said I would never bring you. I brought you 10,000 views. Then your normal, I brought you an extra 5,000 views. And that did make you look like an idiot. So, I mean, you know.
Okay, so the guy claimed he was a retired Boston agent for 30 years.
Okay.
Okay.
Did he show proof? He claims. Okay, so he didn't show proof. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that would be very educational to people if you invited a police officer to talk about.
No, I actually have one lined up.
Good.
I actually have one.
Okay, good. We did. I should look into that police officer
lined up, but not for today.
I mean, don't you think you're spreading misinformation right now by like not having a Boston police officer and talking about they didn't follow the procedures?
Not even in the slightest bit. No, I'm not spreading misinformation. I'm stating the fact.
But you said you didn't know, but you kept on stating
it took 5 days to recover evidence from a scene. Why wasn't the scene checked?
But you don't know the procedure.
Why wasn't the scene checked?
Yes. Actually, I have that perspective because I read the evidence and I do think she's guilty, and I can have an opinion whether she's guilty or not. Just like you have an opinion that she's innocent. You don't know the procedure.
I've heard police officers. I've heard Jennifer Coffindoffer herself. Jennifer Coffindoffer herself say that mistakes were made.
That agrees with me. The person agrees with me that's
right.
Okay.
Right. Let me finish, please.
Sure. Sorry about that.
So Jennifer Coffindoffer herself has said that.
See, I apologized to him. Sorry about that. The reason why it sounds best because we're at 1.5, but I said sorry about that. Did he ever say sorry to me?
No, he just continued to be a dick.
Such as the red solo cups from a neighbor to collect blood samples from a scene. That doesn't happen. That's why you have forensic teams, okay, to collect blood samples and preserve the blood samples properly. This is not done by red solo cups.
Brag about what? I don't know what you're talking about. Dudes.
I have no idea.
Tell us the procedure, B. Tim. Make him tell us the procedure. Well, maybe he should tell me the procedure. If he's a fucking true crime channel for 5 years, you would think that he would know the police procedure if this is his job.
This would be the time for him to say what the procedure is.
This would be the time to shine, motherfucker. Tell me the procedure. This is the time that you should have fucking turned that line back at me and said, this is the police procedure. And I looked it up on this manual, and this is where they fucked up based upon my notes. I gave you this. This could have been an easy comeback for you, Glare, but you decided because you're too lazy to read anything and you're just repeating people's mouthpieces, you have less understanding of the police procedure than a drama stream panel guest. That's not even a true crime channel.
From a neighbor. Okay. Secondly, you do not take a snowblower to blow away the snow. Or
how do you know that you don't take a blow snow to blow away snow? What are you supposed to do to get rid of snow? What is the name? What is the first thing called in that item? Snow blower.
And I'm gonna be completely honest with you, and I don't know if this rocks the boat, but obviously being in Boston and with the weather, especially the snow and stuff, it's not like the snow sticks. So if they waited for it to just go away, it would have gone away in like a couple hours.
By the way, Runs with Pickle says in case he dove deep in evidence that was collected over weeks. Yeah. Then he tries to say where like these documents are not signed, so they should not be used. And I'm like, wait, didn't we agree to use these documents as the basis of facts in our discussion here? And I'm like, sitting here, this is the great documents we agreed to use based upon your thing. And you're the one that brings up surprise BS from nowhere, like some fucking BS photo. I mean, and some photo from some video from some rando.
Or not even a snowblower, a leaf blower to blow away the snow away from a crime scene. Away from
Wait a minute. Timmy, you spread misinformation where you go. Stop calling Turtle Boy an abuser when he hasn't been convicted. Sir,
he definitely is an abuser.
We have the recording, and he is a piece of shit, and I will stand on that. And you can stand on defending a piece of shit known as Turtle Boy. I'll go with that. Like, can you? And this is the person, by the way. Chronicles is the same person that says Blank Screen is worse than Turtle Boy, and says I'm being a liar. But the reason why her comments were not being shown too much, or my comments not being shown, because she blocked me in her chat. She made a video about me, and then she blocked me in her chat. So only her responses and only she could see it. Now, if you're
is this Chronicles who used to watch us?
Chronicles of the Shady? Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is a person who got really butthurt because Queen basically talked about Unirock a mean way and talked about something on Twitter. And instead of just being like neutral and chill or whatnot, and this is a person I supported and watched her videos.
Yeah, we were nice to her. Yeah,
we were very nice to her, and she is not nice to me at all. And I never talked too much shit about this lady at all until she started fucking grabbing clips of me and misrepresenting me in ways I did not like.
That's the thing about clips. You can make it sound any way you want because they're clips.
Okay, and 5.6 inches fell on top of John. All the events from 12:45 a.m. when he was hit and 6 a.m. when they found him. And it continued to snow the whole day. Yeah. Well, I lost 38% padding in my foot, but the 8 I go find out. Okay, well, that's not related to the thing. I was just reading the chat.
You also tape off the area the day of, which was not done until the next day.
Okay, so how does that go together?
Well, I don't need to be a cop to know that that's standard procedure.
I mean, how do you know?
I just need to have common sense.
Well, common sense is not common, sir. So let's continue. I stated that. I was like, okay. And that was me to say, yeah, it is not. But you have. I would never let Sleuthy moderate. I would have someone who's neutral. And Sleuthy, and I would probably I would have someone who didn't care, who would know the facts of the case. Like I would say, like a good moderator would probably be Yellow Cabin Tails. He would be a good moderator because he's not really that emotional about both things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You might not know him, but he was originally a Karen Reed supporter. He believed that she was innocent, and then based upon the facts that he gathered, he slowly changed his opinion, and he got a lot of backlash from a lot of people that attacked him, and they really they dox him on a daily basis. I've seen in one chat where they doxed his home location while he was live streaming, and they were like really fucking with this guy because he just changed his opinion. And he did talk to Turtle Boy once, and he has a very good understanding of this case. And like honestly, he would be a great moderator here because he would call out the bullshit on both sides. And often, like when you're in his chat, he's very nice to people who are Turtle Riders or Free Karen Reed supporters, and very nice to people who aren't. And that would be a good moderator. Sleuthy Goosey would not be a good moderator because she would be mostly pushing towards his end because she has a bias where she believes Karen Reed is innocent. So you want to have someone that would be feeding on both ends, who would be fair on both ends. Explain how the microscopic pieces of the taillight got on his
I'm not
shirt.
supposed to explain that. The prosecution.
Aren't you spreading misinformation? You don't?
Not at all.
Why hasn't? Yes, you're spreading misinformation because you don't know the information because you said that this is common sense, but you never researched it. That would be misinformation. Defense has done that.
The defense is, it's not their job.
The defense, it's not their job to prove how what got on his clothes.
No, it is exactly not their job.
Okay.
Because
they're supposed to present a theory on their client on how she's innocent. Okay, that's their job. Now he might be right on this point. I'm going to give him this point. He might be right on that. They just have to prove his innocence. So I'll give him a little bit on that one. I get it.
The burden of proof is on the prosecution.
Yeah, that's true. Burden of proof is on the prosecution, but they're making this theory that you speed up.
So you explain to me how the microscopic pieces got.
He got hit by a car. He walked right into that.
Right.
He walked right into that. You explain to me how the microscopic pieces got there. He got hit by a car. That would probably explain the microscopic pieces when it shattered on him. And by the way, he keeps on saying bone's not strong enough to like dislodge like a glass thing, like back thing like that and break it. Bone is 4 times stronger than concrete. So if I threw something 4 times stronger than concrete at 27 miles per hour in the back of a car, I'm pretty sure I'm going to cause some damage.
Oh yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Just a thought.
I'm not a doctor, but I'm pretty fucking sure.
How
got hit by a car.
Explain to me exactly how those microscopic pieces would actually end
up.
Well,
when it broke, when the taillight broke, it got
what part of his body? What part of his body?
Right. I mean, I'm not. That's what it said on his shirt. He's asking me what part of his body. How the fuck would I know what part of his body? I'm not a cop. I wasn't at the scene of the accident. I wasn't fucking at the scene of the situation. I wasn't like an accident reconstruction person. That would be up to the accident reconstruction people, sir, not me. You don't know nothing. You don't even know what time he died. You don't even know what time he was put in the car in your theory. You don't know nothing. Your own theory, you don't even know the timeline of events. I know the timeline of events of your theory better than you. Mm-hmm. You.
But bone is dense enough to break that taillight in order for them to end up on his shirt.
Bone? We're talking about, what are you talking about?
This is science. Your job. That's right. What's the science?
Not my job. I don't work for the police department, sir.
What's the science that would explain to me the science?
Do you know the science? Why are you asking a question you don't know?
No, I don't know the science.
Then why would you ask a question like that?
All I know.
Yeah, why would you ask a question like that if you don't know the motherfucking answer? I don't know the science. I don't know accident reconstruction. I don't know about legal. I don't know nothing. I came to this debate. I was working out. I'm not really listening to you. I just these earphones in my head are just for decorations. I'm not actually hearing anything. I'm just basically talking to the air. I don't know nothing. Right, Tony? I'm just talking to my air.
Yeah. It's just I'm not understanding. I feel like he only came on just to be like, oh, I was here.
This is his show, by the way. This is his show. I was on his show, so he came on ill prepared.
All I know is that if that evidence wasn't preserved properly, those pieces of plastic could have gone on his clothes at any given time. Those pieces of plastic had 5 days.
I want to
get to end up on his clothes.
How do you think? How much Adderall did B. Tim snort today? Oh, that's nice that no one's like deleting that and just letting that stay there. That you're insinuating I'm doing drugs. That's nice. B. Tim's job is just my job is to discuss about a case where a guy doesn't even know if the shoe was recovered. The guy doesn't know jack shit, and he doesn't even do research. And all his defense is, I don't know. I mean, did he say anything that actually wasn't just, I don't know, and reasonable doubt?
It was mostly, I don't know, and a lot of what ifs.
And he says, how? Well, sir, when the car backed up at 27 miles per hour, I think it was 67 feet. I got to look at the number. It hit him with the car, and that's how he got hit. Okay, that's how. It's actually the data that the reconstruction people got. I think he did it. Just jump. Do you think Proctor, an officer, came there and sprinkled an embedded fucking plastic onto his clutch shirt? State it.
I don't know how it ended up there, but I know that
I don't know how it ended up there. I don't have a timeline of events whereby I can state this officer had the ability to sprinkle this stuff. This officer had the ability to collect this stuff. Just like, I don't know. Tony, it's like me having a debate with you. I don't know. It's just like if I just came up to you and says, debate me on Karen Reed, and you could just say, I don't know. Would you win the debate immediately? Just saying,
oh, no. Once I say, I don't know, I feel like I'm going to lose. Common sense.
I think he dropped his phone and bent down to pick it up. That's what they say. It's like an asymmetrical position. That's why she didn't see him, and I think she hit him in the chest, shoulder area. That's my theory, because his phone was under him. So my thought process is that he was holding on to the phone, maybe using it as a light source or something. My thought is maybe he was bent over using his phone as a light source. Maybe he was looking for something. Maybe he was sick and he threw up, because it was throw up on his shirt, and he threw up in the back of the car. Who knows? I don't know. Actually, X that throw up, because they would have found throw up in the scene. But let's say he was hit by, like he had it bent over. He's using his phone for a light. He's looking for it. And he gets hit by the car because Karen Reed doesn't see him, or she doesn't know about him. She's just pissed off or something. I don't know. She's drunk. She's not thinking clearly. Who knows? But that's my thought. He probably was bent over using his phone for something, and he got hit by a car.
I know that I believe that.
I told you how
that John O'Keefe was in that house.
Okay, and you know what? That would have been a great defense for her attorney if they said, "I never saw him and he was bent over, and I don't know how I hit him with the car, guys. I thought he walked into the house and I never saw him come out, and like I thought he walked in the house and I was drunk and I hit him." That would have been a great defense. But
Yeah, so
let's jump there.
I'll
jump to that. Okay, we'll jump to that point. Sure. There's another point of contention. You bring up the fact that he went into the house, but the GPS data doesn't show that he went into the house.
It doesn't matter that the GPS data.
What do you mean the GPS data? Did we just watch the last video where they tracked down that guy with GPS data to know exactly where he was to arrest him?
Exactly.
So the GPS data doesn't matter. The Waze doesn't matter. But I'm going to believe Apple health data, which is more likely to tell me the accurate location of someone. The Apple health data or the GPS system and Waze that uses the GPS. Just a thought.
He's lacking sense right now.
It doesn't matter. It's an essential piece of evidence.
Okay, so the way the GPS data works, it does not pinpoint one particular location. It pinpoints basically that's how it works.
You're wrong, because GPS has usually depends on the GPS. What's rewriting that motherfucker there? This doesn't matter. It's an essential piece of evidence.
Okay, so the way the GPS data works, it does not pinpoint one particular location. It pinpoints basically that's how it works.
You're wrong, because GPS has usually depends on the signal, and at that time the signal was weak, and then it got stronger and stronger, and it went down to a radius of 72 feet. That only means up to the door. Yes, because originally that's a big circle, and usually that's you're in the center of that circle, and it gets bigger because the signal's weaker, and it gets smaller when the signal gets stronger based upon your area. And it can get really small depending if you have a really strong phone signal. And if that guy was literally walked into the house, that big circle would have moved from the car to the house, making the house the center point of that giant circle. And then it would have moved again to the location. Because according to you, he would have had to go into the house before Mr. Nagel saw him, get immediately beat up by everyone and the dog, and then they immediately run to his pocket, shut off his phone. Then they wait. They somehow keep the phone off, but turn it back on when Karen Reed finds him. So I don't know how that works. How you got to shut off the phone and telepathically put the phone on when Karen Reed arrives to discover his unconscious body.
I know you can hear me typing, and I apologize.
I don't mind. I know we're going.
I was typing to you to tell you the truth.
All right. Okay, we'll be on for another 10 minutes, and we'll just jump off.
Okay.
I learned that in another case, did she shut the phone off? Here for B10. Thank you. No, she didn't. The phone was still on. That's the problem with their theory. They would have to shut off the phone to stop the GPS location to keep on going, or the Waze steps, and put it back under him. But how did the phone come back on, guys? Because it was on when they found him. It found him under him. So unless Karen Reed put the phone on again, and I don't know if I read that in any of the statements, prove me. I don't know how that happened. Then most likely the phone was always on, and that he never went into the house, and that the phone was on under him. GC, I have no idea. They just used the phone internal computer. So let's see the part where he really screwed up, because we have only 10 minutes. So we're going to see this one. He plays this to me. Who's Gibson from Sleuthy on Twitter? right? And he plays this video, right? Hypothesis at this point.
The defense has the luxury of speculation.
Oh, this one,
To
yeah.
you.
Yeah, I told it right to the police station, though. I didn't tell it to my shop or nothing.
No.
I went from that house right to Canton, and they were with me the whole time.
Nice. Wow.
Wow, right? Wow. So, is this a recorded call today? Verified the number. In fact, Diamond Towing, which towed Karen's car. Well, if this is such an important piece of evidence, why isn't the defense using this guy?
Mm-hmm.
And who am I going to believe? Am I going to believe the uniformed officers, the accident reconstruction people, or am I going to believe the random guy from the tow truck driver that can't even remember the day he actually did the events? Who am I going to believe, guys? Who has the ability, who's most likely telling the truth? The accident reconstruction people, the police officers, or a random guy from a towing facility? Exactly.
Wait, that's his Twitter. Okay. No,
That's
I was
her
downloading
Twitter.
everything. Yeah.
That's her Twitter. He's going on Twitter or X to basically, because what's happening is that he's losing so badly that Sleuthy and a bunch of other people are giving him messages to try to save his ass because he's sounding dumber and dumber. Okay. Then he shows me this photo. How the fuck are you? And he says, this proves that there was no damage to the headlight. Can you even see that?
No, it's literally blinding. But for my weak
I
eye,
mean, it would be helpful if it was this thing over here.
it's
maybe.
cropped right there, and then there's text right there. So, and also it's far away. So this is a poor excuse as an example for anything.
By the way, he didn't point out that I think this was the surveillance footage from his Karen Reed's parents' house, I think. So do you think the mother and father of the accused is going to release fucking data, like evidence that is going to throw their daughter to jail? Maybe they'll lie. Shocker, right? I mean, like, your whole theory is that people will lie for their family to save their asses, but can't you think of maybe a situation where they release evidence that would be more better for their daughter and suppress evidence that weren't for her daughter? Just a thought, guys. Now we go to my favorite part of the whole thing. Let me say initials because they're children, obviously. They're not
operated. Remembers the black SUV.
She hit him.
All of this detail. Could see that there was
like her. They talk to her here. Time PF recalled a recent argument, and it's now watch. Listen to this.
Wait. So
yeah, it said initials. There was a testify as well. Well, remember last scene in the water.
According to Mr. K.
Well, according to also the girl that might testify as well. Well, we'll see.
Have you seen a statement from a minor?
I've seen the statement. I did actually see that there was a statement from her that basically said that her story was inconsistent.
Okay, wait. So
yeah,
you saw a statement from a child in these documents. Could you reference that document to me, please?
Sure, I gotta find it. Give me a moment. Let me see.
Is it just me, or do I kind of feel like when you're doing a debate, and was this no remind me, was this a planned debate, or was this just
he invited me 24 hours earlier.
24. You would think that you would be more organized and you would be like, okay.
Now listen to this motherfucker. This guy says I'm condescending, but listen to this.
Mm-hmm.
Chat, I know. I mean, but I want to give him an opportunity to find this document that we all know that the laws prohibit such a document to be public because this child is a minor.
Mm.
Look at that. No, let's see if anyone's correcting him. Okay, it says here on page 22. Look at that face. Look at that face. Hello, darkness.
He was not prepared for you. Do you get what I'm saying? He was just not prepared for you. He thought you were going to be an easy, KOS, but really, you're the one that was just like, I feel like I can't see you, but I feel like you're behind the microphone and you have this smile on your face, like, I'm waiting. Yeah, like that's basically what I'm thinking in my head.
Yeah, and Stitcher says, is the tow truck driver info in the evidence? Did he not have to fill out a form as to how the vehicle appears? Yes, they would have to. Those have to be written down. So
It's okay,
what am I
Grandma.
gonna believe? Oh, it's fine, Sherry. What am I gonna believe? The police officer, accident reconstruction person in the documents, or a random guy they called up and barely knew what day of the week it was? You tell me. Now, I pointed out this fact in this minor is because Karen Reed changed her story 3 times. 3 times. Not 1, not 2, but 3 times. Now, he talks about how the witnesses in the house and how their statements are so important, but I haven't heard the witnesses in the houses. He never pointed out to me, though, how the witnesses in the houses changed their stories. And usually a good pinpoint of events, if someone's telling the truth, if their story changes all the fucking time. So the first story, she says, I dropped off John O'Keefe at the bar and I never seen him since. And then she was told by Jennifer McCabe, no, we saw you at the house. Then she changed her story again. She said, yeah, I dropped him off at the house, but I never saw him go in the house. Then when she was on Dateline, she's like, yeah, I dropped him off out there and I saw him go in the house. 3 stories changed.
It's a lot.
And then I bring up the kid because the kid is another person that corroborates what Jen McCabe said and actually shows that she lied. And then this guy tries to put out that this kid was manipulated, told by John O'Keefe's family to lie, basically. And it's like, no, the kid basically was woken up at 5 o'clock in the morning by some crazy lady who's screaming in her, saying her adopted father, where is he? It's like, oh my God. Let me see one moment.
Could you share the link in the private chat for me, please?
Sure, because they use a drinking that oak leaf.
Initials, so I'm assuming that they talk to her. Here, give me a moment. Give me a second. Sorry for the wait.
Oh, let's see that chat. Let's see that chat. Don't let him get out of this. He better find it. Oh, I found it. I made you all look like fools. What's this one? There was no statement. Well, that shows you never read the documents, Gina. Let me see. Beat Tim, I hope you never get picked for a jury. Well, I don't want to be picked for a jury too because they don't pay enough. So we both agree on that one. When was the child interviewed? Because both children have been brainwashed to hate Karen Reed. Who's in the side of the conspiracy? Every single statement is from Jen, regardless of which person's mouth said them. This is fun. Well, I agree with Shams there. How many times had CW changed their story? Did he highlight that? Nope.
No.
That means he's an idiot. Claire, you wanted him to debate.
Yeah, like get on. Like I don't understand. Like if I was given 24 hours notice, or even if I was given like 2 or 3 hours notice, I would compile everything. Maybe it's just me. I like to be organized and be like, okay, this is if it comes to this part, I'm gonna go here, there. I would not be. No offense to any of you watching, you know I love y'all, but I would not be depending on just the word of my chat. I would have to look it up and be like, okay, yeah, okay, see if it, because sometimes people can feed you, rumors.
Like, look at this. This is supposed to be a true crime debate, and this one, yes, anti-bullying rules in society have created this new generation of B-Tims.
You're a bully?
I'm the one being bullied.
Oh, you're the one being bullied.
I should have been bullied as a kid. No, motherfucker. I was the guy that bullied the bullies, motherfucker. Let's be real. Let's be 100.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You would not know my lifestyle, but let me tell you, I bully the bullies.
Mm-hmm.
Why are the feds looking into this then? Because someone tipped them off, and probably it's going to be found out that it's the lawyers from Karen Reed. Did I hit him? Is what Karen Reed said in shock. Well, she said it like 7 times or 6 times. She said it a lot to even the EMS people. So I don't know.
More links. Here you go.
Oh, I got 2 pots of coffee, dude. I got one in a thermos.
Didn't you guys know
who has 2 pots of coffee? Who has
2 pots of coffee and a carton of cigarettes just to debate me, man?
What does that? I don't that.
And suddenly you hear his like arrogant tone go away because he was proven to look like a fool.
an idiot.
He does. He looks like a
I'm ready to go,
banana.
homie. We're good.
On February, I think on page 22 of that
Quick, I'm almost there.
that starts at February 22nd on both the 10-year-old nephew and CF.
Okay.
And they use initials because they're children, obviously. They're not going to put their real names on there because when you're under the age of 18. It says, this week. She further stated approximately a week prior to January 20.
Is D. Tim and McCabe? I can't even spell the. He doesn't even know how to spell the person's name correctly.
I have no idea, so I'm just gonna trust you on that.
Like, not their actual statements. What do you think they are? They're recorded statements of the children that are put into court documents.
Mm-hmm.
She was sitting on the stairway inside the house while the
I wondered why he's got those headphones on. Anyway, I always have used them on the panel cause folks in my house, but yeah, I don't know why he does that. Probably because he has roommates. I would want beat him any day over the glare. Yeah, no shit. I mean, like, I doesn't know nothing, and his chat is stupid.
We're team. We're team.
victim and defendant were arguing.
Yeah. Why was that deleted? Well, why did Jennifer McCabe?
Yeah.
Why did Karen Reed decide to, when a search warrant was presented to her for her phones, run to Florida and wait until the warrants were expired, and then proceed to come back, wait 40 minutes, and possibly wiped her phones before handing them to the police officers? Wouldn't that show guilt more so than someone deleting calls that came in?
Look at very sus.
Yeah,
very sus.
But anyway, I just wanted to play that part. He's got to go. He's got to skedaddle.
Yeah, I gotta go. I have to go to the
anyway,
hardware store.
Yeah. So this is it. I just wanted to play that part. But yeah, the guy was an idiot. He did not come prepared. He sounded like a fool. His chat is filled with ignorant fools that have, like, most of the chat is filled with ignorant fools. And yeah, his pride was destroyed, and he didn't show up on the internet for a few days. So
yeah, and when he did show up on the internet, he took your idea.
He took my idea. He basically,
I mean, you know,
he took my idea. He realized I had a good idea. Too bad he didn't effectuate it correctly. Anyway, you guys have a good one.
Yeah, you guys have a good one. Thank you for watching, and y'all just please keep safe out there.
All right.
We will be back. Bye.
Bye.